Mm-hmm.
They just got us on a nice little warm. They warming us up right now. You being warmed up.
Oh my gosh.
Wait till they start
Hi
burning
guys,
that
what's
wood.
up? You guys, listen.
Wait until they toss your ass in that oven. They just getting us warmed up.
Hey guys, sorry y'all. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in forever. I have been turned into a human pacifier. Like the baby needs to have a booby in the mouth for him to go to sleep. So he just left for a little bit. So I have a little bit of time. So come outside. Sorry, y'all, I had to drink something. You guys, I watched the debate last night. I don't know if you guys watched the debate last night, but hopefully you did. If you didn't watch the debate last night between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, you need to. I mean, not you need to, but you should. Why wouldn't you? You should care about politics. Um, Y'all, this thing makes me so emotional. But Dr. Umar posted a video, and I was looking at the video. I was watching the video, so I figured we could watch the video together. So when you come in, say hi. I'll say hi back, and I'm gonna start playing the video. You guys can watch this later on your own time. Let me see. Let's start.
Where the black vote is going. And, and do you know why black reporters don't matter to them?
Hey, Lacey.
Because black people are going to vote for the Democrats anyway.
Hold on. What is it?
Brothers and sisters on the bottom, we have been used as a political football by the Democratic media outlets. Cover.
Hey, y'all. What's up, baby? Fallon, Lacey, what's up? Hey, Janet. Because he talks about Bronny James. I don't really care about that story. So hold on.
The presidential debate tonight. I want to know, why are you surprised? I want to know, why are you appalled? I want to know, why would you think anything else would have happened? We are disorganized. We fight more with each other than we do with our enemies.
Facts.
We have no economic program for ourselves at all.
Amen.
We never focus on uplifting our brothers and sisters on the bottom. We have been used as a political football by the Democratic Party for almost 100 years straight without any change of behavior. Why would anyone take the American Negro seriously? CNN didn't let any black reporters in because black reporters don't matter to them.
Facts. Sorry, guys. We can back up to it real quick. So if you don't know, for the debate, because there's going to be, they scheduled 2 debates, right? Through 2 presidential debates. Oh my gosh, I can't talk, right? So one happened last night. That was CNN. There's another one happening in September that's going to be hosted by ABC, right? So the one debate, the one that happened last night, no black reporters made it in. Like, none of them were approved. Their credentials were not approved. Hey, Makeda, none of them were approved. Their credentials were not approved. So no black reporters, no type of black media was allowed to, hey, Fumi, was allowed to partake in the debate last night. And they were really upset. So Dr. Umar's like, why are you upset? You know what I'm saying? Why are you upset? Why are you upset that CNN did not allow any black media, black American media into the event? Because no matter what, you're still going to vote Democrat anyways. Like, it doesn't matter how these people treat you. You're still going to vote for them anyways. And I'm like, you know what, Dr. Umar, go ahead. Keep talking.
And do you know why black reporters don't matter to them? Because black people are going to vote for the Democrats anyway. So why do we have to cater to black votes when we already know where the black vote is going? And since no one in America cares about black people, why do we need their reporters? I mean, who cares what black people think about the presidential election? Who cares what black people think about the presidential debate? So they're not going to let them in. 99% of all the black reporters are going to be Democrats. So that's the Republicans' way of saying we don't need you. And the Democrats don't care because they have nothing on the agenda for you in the next election cycle. They're focusing on immigrants, rainbow gangers, and women. So CNN not letting any of the black media outlets cover tonight's presidential debate, that's just a symbol of a much bigger problem on the horizon. That's just a symbol of a much bigger problem on the horizon. We're dealing with a blackout.
Mm.
A literal blackout of anything relevant for black people being handled, processed, or heard by the white power structure or the US government. It's over for us.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't quickly come to a realization of the state of emergency we are in as a race of people, you can forget it.
Mm.
You can forget it. See, some people thought we were going to wake up after Hurricane Katrina. Some people thought we were going to wake up after Hurricane Katrina. Some people thought we were going to wake up after Hurricane Katrina. We went back to sleep. Some people thought we would wake up after George Floyd. We went back to sleep.
Mm.
You wonder why we are a reactionary.
No living being should ever eat processed food for every single meal of their life.
People, why do we always react to what the government does? We react to what the police do. We react to what white people do. Why are black people so reactionary? You know why? We're only energized to make a difference when white people piss us off. If white people are not pissing us off, we could care less about what happens to black people. We are completely reactionary. Caucasian.
And this is something that I absolutely agree with. Hey, Sean, what's up, babe? Right? This is something that I completely agree with. I think the majority of the time, the only time black people really care about an issue, if a white person made them mad, or if by taking care of this issue, it allows them to make another white person mad, right? But to be like intrinsically, this is something that I'm doing this because I really care. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it. You know, it's like, for example, right, when people say, oh, Black Lives Matter, right? Okay, sure. Let's just say Black lives do matter, right? So it's like, why are you only mad when a white police officer kills a black person? But every day, countless of young black men are killing each other for the most futile, the most random, the most stupidest of things, right? These young men will unalive each other. And there's no pressure. There's no condemnation. There's nobody saying you are misbehaving. You have to value the black, like you a black person. No, nobody says a thing, right? But let a white person, let a white police officer kill another black person. Oh my gosh, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter should matter to all people, not just white people. Not just white people. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm like, that's why I say a lot of times, to me, black people are it's a very unserious people. It's a very unserious people. Because if you truly say that Black Lives Matter, we cannot promote, dance, sing to, encourage, go to concerts where people are singing about killing other black people. Because these ops are what kind of people? They're black people. You know what I'm saying? You listen to rap music and the stuff they talk about, it's completely about killing other black people. Everybody's okay with that. Oh, that's entertainment. Oh, that's music. Oh, that's an op. Oh, well, that's what happens when you join a gang. Whatever. These are still young black people singing about killing other young black people. And these other young black people they're trying to kill, that's somebody's son. That's somebody's mother. That's somebody's daughter. I was asleep yesterday and somehow I let the YouTube thing, hey, Bridget, I let the YouTube thing play in the background. And this guy was talking about, oh, yeah, when he was growing up, there was this one song he listened to, talking about, oh, I dragged this bee in the house and I put her through hell. And so pretty much like you kidnap this woman, you bring her to your house and you start graping her. I said, oh, my gosh, how do y'all make this kind of music? And not just that, how do y'all even listen to this kind of music? Right? It's like, no, we only call out white police officers when they do wrong by black people or when a white police officer kills a black person, right? You understand? But when it's black people making music, making money, filling up arenas with a bunch of white children in there, screaming out the N-word, all kinds of white kids screaming, nigga, 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 okay? Songs about killing, loading the chopper, making it rain, whatever. Oh, no, that's fine because that's the culture. Oh, so it's permissible. So if I'm black, I have the right to be as violent, as degenerate, as criminal as I want to be because I'm black. I have the right to hurt other black people, but a white man can't do it. And that really makes sense to you? I'm like, that truly makes sense to you? Like, it's okay for you to think like this? You mishandle other black people. You mistreat other black people. You talk badly about other black people. You talk poorly about other black people, right? But it's okay because when I'm black, I have the right to be hurtful to another black person, but another white person can't do it. Like, that's your logic. Wow. And like, it's so crazy to me, y'all. It is so crazy. Every time I come on YouTube, I can see about like just scrolling casually. I can see about 10 different videos of some young black man getting convicted today for murder, double murder, triple murder. I mean, look at Remy Ma's son. Look at Remy's son, right? So he killed one person, but the guy he was with, the guy he was arrested with, that man killed 3 people before they finally caught up to him. Right. So most likely he snitched because he has 3 bodies on him. And those are just the bodies they can actually put on him. Now I'm like, think about the people he has killed and they can't pin those bodies on him. So most likely that young man, right, to get a better deal, to not get like life and life on top of life or a death penalty. I don't know if they have that in New York City. He probably snitched on Remy's son. So that way he could probably have a 30-year sentence, or he could have the opportunity to maybe one day be able to be released from prison. Right? But I'm like, look at how our young men are out here walking, behaving, carrying themselves. They're so angry for the slightest thing. You say no, don't want to give your phone number. Next thing you know, you're getting stabbed in the heart. You don't want to give your phone number. Next thing you know, they're throwing you in a whole trash can, right? Young people, like, I'm like, we have a crisis. Like, we have an emotional, spiritual, I don't know, financial crisis for young black men in America, because the way they're so easily triggered, the way they are so easily seduced to be so violent and harmful and destructive, it's a real problem, right? But because it doesn't involve confrontation with white people, nobody talks about it. I'm like, where is Ben Crump, right? Tamika Mallory, all these people, where are they? Because they only show up if it can look like racism, right? But when it comes to personal accountability, community accountability, they're nowhere to be found, because they make money by going after white people. They make money selling racism to people. They make money making everything seem racist and racist and racism. That's all you care about. But you don't truly care about having a healthy black community where black children are thriving, where young black men know how to control themselves and know how to control their anger and know how to use their healthier ways to have conflict resolution. Must you unalive someone? Every time you don't get along with someone, you have to unalive a person? Anytime a girl breaks up with you, she needs to go end up missing? I mean, I'm like, this is just pure madness. This is crazy. Hold on. Dr. Umar, speak. Because
control black people's entire agenda list. We only react to racism.
Yeah.
We do not proactively do anything for ourselves. And the reason we don't proactively do anything for ourselves is we don't have enough love to do anything for ourselves. So y'all can stop with all the religious talk. I'm so tired of the...
Exactly. Hey, Val, what's up, babe? And this part too, like I said, there's no love. And I think I said this before, but I'm glad he's saying it again, right? But I'm like, there's no love. And I'm like, there's so much self-hate. Y'all, I didn't come out for y'all to be mad at me, but please don't be mad at me, right? But I'm like, I wish a lot of black people would admit to themselves how much they hate themselves, right? Because I'm like, there's no way you love yourself and you do the things that you do. There's no way that you love yourself and you're out here killing other black people. There's no way you love yourself and you're out here breaking up homes and having kids out of wedlock and all these kids by different people. You don't love yourself. Well, if you're anybody from a community that can easily hurt people from the same community that you come out of, is because you don't love yourself. You understand me? You don't love yourself. When you can easily unalive a person who looks just like you, same complexion as you, same hair texture as you, grew up in the same neighborhood as you, has the same life as you, went through the same pain as you, don't have a daddy just like you. When you're able to unalive people who look just like you, it's because you hate yourself. Because you hate yourself. Because you see yourself in that other person. And if you had love for yourself, you will handle that person differently, because like, wow, I see myself in her. I see myself in him. So what I wouldn't do to myself, I can't see myself doing that to you. But when you're depressed, when you have low self-esteem, when you hate yourself, when you have rage, because a lot of people out here have rage on the inside of them, it is so much easier for you to harm people who look just like you, because you hate yourself and you hate everything that reminds you of who you are and where you come from and what you look like and what you have and what you don't have. And that's why it's so easy for other black people to do so much harm to other black people, because you don't truly love yourself. Because the day you start to love yourself, you'll know to give mercy to somebody. You'll know, like, you know what? Even though I didn't like what you did, but it's never that serious, right? I might be disappointed. I might be hurt by your behavior, but that does not give me the right to take your life. It doesn't give me the right to go to the extreme, because I see myself in you. And when you see yourself in someone, you have some type of restraint. You have some type of self-control, because you're like, yo, we're all connected. We're all connected. What you do to one, you've done to everybody. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like, I don't know if you guys are keeping up with this YSL trial with Young Thug and whatever, but to see all these young black men in that courthouse, I'm like, hey, Nikki, I'm like, see all these young black men in the courthouse. And yeah, Woody's really funny and things like that, but even him is so tragic. I'm like, y'all just throwing your lives away. You are throwing your lives away because you don't love yourself. And then, like, I'm like, in your life, and you growing up, there was never someone who told you they saw something special in you. And that's why you act like this. Because nobody ever pulled you to the side and poured love into you, poured some words of encouragement in you. Nobody ever told you one day you're going to be someone. You're special. God has a plan for you. You are born with a multitude of gifts. You are here to change the world in a positive way. You are here to transform your family, your community in a powerful way. God's going to use you as a vessel for transformation. Nobody ever poured into you. Nobody ever showed you how to love yourself. So you're easily seduced by this knucklehead activity into the streets. You guys, when they started this whole RICO trial with the YSL gang people, when I tell you, it was over 28 young black men. And if probably the oldest out of all of them is like, what, 27? I'm like, oh my gosh. But they're babies. And you're facing more time in prison than you've ever lived on this planet. I'm like, how does that even make sense? Like, how does that even make sense to people? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, and if we're sitting here today and we don't realize that young black men in America are going through a crisis, it is real. It is real. And I'm like, and when you have a community and your young men are not mentally stable, they are depressed. They have nothing to look forward to. They are easily angry. They are easily violent. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is safe. No one is safe. No one is safe. And I'm like, and every day I pop my head outside and it's like, there's no one who is coming up with a plan on how do you save these young boys? How do you save these young black men? And for the babies, those who are not even in I guess the danger zone, right? How do we make sure that these young black babies, the little boys, right, are never even seduced by this type of life, are never seduced by these types of streets, are never seduced by these type of activities, right? But I'm like, we have a young population that is seriously in crises, and they don't understand what manhood is. And at the same time, they have all these emotional issues, these family issues, these developing issues in their brain, right? And they're just outside, ready to hurt other people because they're hurting terribly on the inside. And no one is talking about it. But if they do something crazy as like hurting another black woman, hurting a black child, or killing somebody else, oh, well, we knew these ninjas wasn't nothing, right? But before it even gets to that, how do you save these young men from becoming monsters? Like, I'm like, you're legitimately becoming a monster. Why do you want people to be so afraid of you? Why do you want people to be scared of you? Why don't you see beauty in yourself? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you see beauty in yourself? You don't see talent in yourself? You don't see something great in yourself? Why every time you walk somewhere, you want people to have anxiety? Why do you want people to fear you? You're not a monster. Being black is not synonymous for being demonic. You know what I'm saying? Learn to love yourself. Be a positive force. Be a positive influence. Believe in yourself. Become somebody. Resist the urge to always react with your emotions, with violence, with your muscles, but start to learn to use your intelligence. You're capable of being intelligent. You are capable of thinking your way out of your problems. You don't always have to resort to violence. They want you to be violent. I'm like, oh gosh, this is just, it's so crazy to me. Hold on.
Religious talk. Black people are a bunch of spiritual hypocrites. We are a bunch of spiritual hypocrites. How can you be so committed to God, doing nothing about your people's condition? You're a hypocrite. You're so committed to the church, so committed to the masjid, so committed to the temple, but yet you're completely comfortable with your people struggling and suffering. Spiritual hypocrisy. Spiritual hypocrisy. I will watch Bronny James play when he drops the snow bunny. I don't support black men who date out the race. So until Bronny James stops bunny hopping, I can't do it. I'm happy for him and his father, though. I love to see that black father, black son together on the basketball court. That's going to be great. That's going to be great. I love to see that. That father, LeBron James, is a great father. He's no activist at all. That's the biggest lie ever told. He's no activist at all, but he's a tremendous father. And I look forward to him and Bronny James playing on the court together. If Bronny James stops bunny hopping, if he doesn't stop bunny hopping, I can't support that. But let's talk about more important matters right now. Let's talk about more important matters right now. Let's talk about more important matters right now. Tonight's presidential debate is going to be interesting because I want to see whether or not black people's issues are addressed at all. I suspect Donald Trump might throw you all a pig bone. I think Donald Trump might throw the American Negro a pig bone. I think he's going to bring you up because he knows Joe Biden hasn't done anything for you. So Donald Trump might cater to the Negro ego just enough to get your vote. I do suspect that former President Trump might throw you a pig's feet bone. He might throw the American Negro a pig's feet bone because he knows Joe Biden is very weak on the black agenda. He's completely ignored you for 4 years. And so I can see Donald Trump saying something on behalf of black folks, not because he cares, but just to get your vote. But I really don't think you're going to be a topic tonight. I really don't think you are going to be a topic tonight because you are very comfortable being politically irrelevant. We have been politically irrelevant for quite some time, and especially since the election of Barack Hussein Obama. So since black people like being politically irrelevant, I really don't think your issues are going to be broadcast too much tonight. Okay? But this is just the beginning. You have seen nothing yet. While you sitting around waiting for reparations.
And and one thing I'm gonna say too, like one thing I'm gonna say, because I've really realized this, because some days like stuff will just hit me in the head, right? I've come to recognize this, and I was like, you know what? America has come so far in what America is becoming that you have to recognize things for what things really are, right? I don't think America, the institution of America, truly cares about Black America. And I don't think they ever will, because the way America is moving today, right? They are creating a new class, a new form, a new definition. That's the word, right? America is creating a new definition for diversity. You understand, right? If you go back to like slavery, post-slavery, anything like before the 2000s, right? Diversity really was having Black people was diversity. You understand? And so recently, that's why I told y'all I do not support diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I know when you hear me, my Black behind, right, saying things like, "Oh, I don't approve of diversity, equity, and inclusion," you will probably be shocked. Like, money, what you mean? They're trying to get Black people jobs. They're trying to let Black people have access to things they've never had before. Oh, of course. That's always how it goes. Do you not understand? Like, let me see if I can say this properly. Hopefully you can see the vision, right? The way this country was set up, the way this plantation, because America really is some weird social experiment, right? If you go back to your elementary school, middle school, high school days, right, you understood, right, that the way people came to America, the way the British people came to America, right, it was to set up businesses like these colonies. The colonies are no different than venture capital, okay? Like, we're going to invest some money, let's see what it do. You understand? Another part of England trying to come out here was they didn't want to have criminals in their country. So states like the Carolinas were like, they're going to come over here and build these mass prisons. So that way they could take the prisoner population out of England and bring the people here. So like the Carolinas were some of the first states to have a lot of English inmates You know how like Trump be like, oh, they bring us the worst, they bring us the criminals. That's exactly what Great Britain did. So part of it was come over here, let's see what it does, let's invest. Maybe we might have some crop, and then we can bring stuff to sell it back to England and get rich, right? Another part was, well, we have a growing felonious population. Let's bring these people as far away as possible because we don't want these people to mess up our culture, right? And to encourage young people to become criminals just like them. You understand? So part of kidnapping these African people, like my people, part of kidnapping Africans and bringing them as enslaved people here, it was just for them to work. Okay, you're gonna work like an animal and make these white people as rich as possible. I don't think the vision was ever for a thing called Black America to emerge, where these people are going to be successful one day, go to school with us, have houses next to us. That was never the plan, right? Now, how exactly eventually were they going to get rid of that Black population, that African population? Maybe they thought to themselves, hey, we'll do a genocide, just like Argentina. Right? Once we're done making all the money we want to make, once we're done having as much wealth and as many fields, cotton, sugarcane, I mean, whatever, right? And we no longer need these Africans, we'll probably just murk them all, you know? But God had other plans, right? And the people were not easily killed to the point where now today you have an entire body of people called African Americans. But I'm like, I don't think these people were ever brought here to truly partake in the American dream. No. They were here to work, sustain the American dream, but to never even have a piece of the crumb of this American dream. You understand? So when you cannot stop a people, right? When you can't stop a people because you realize that these people, our goal was to bring them here, work them to death, and then eventually probably kill them. But unfortunately, we can't because they're strong, they're resilient, they're not giving up. So what you do is you infiltrate the people. Like, fine, we'll let you integrate or assimilate, right? But we'll use your movement against you. You understand? I can't kill you, right? But one thing I will do, whatever you do, I will find a way to infiltrate and I will find a way to pervert it. It's like, I'll give you a great example. If you look in the Bible, for example, right, when the people left out of Egypt, right, Moses comes and then you have Joshua, right? When Joshua tries to take over the land of Canaan, there is a people that is very afraid of them, right? Hey, Lonnie, there is a people that's very afraid of them. I think like it's kind of confusing because I think the king's name was Balaam, right? And he didn't know what to do about them. But he was like, these people are crazy. And wherever they go, they take over. So he reached out to a prophet named Balak. Because they have like similar names. Let me see. Right? So he reached out to the prophet and he asked the prophet, right, if he could if the prophet could say a curse. Y'all know this. You probably heard the story before, right? So Balak, yeah. So Balak is the prophet. Hey, Lily. So Balak is a prophet. Right? So the man is named Balaam. So Balaam, the king Balaam, to protect his people, he reached out to a prophet. He's not a Hebrew, like he's not Jewish-ish, okay? He's another prophet from a different ethnicity. And he asked the man, hey, Falcon, he asked the man, can you speak a curse over the Hebrew? Can you speak a curse over Joshua and the people, right? So on this day, the prophet was getting ready to go say a curse, but on his way to say the curse, an angel appeared before his donkey, right? Like if you take one more step, I will cut your head off, right? And so Balak, he was not seeing in the spirit, so he kept beating the donkey. Eventually, the donkey starts to speak. Like, do you not see this angel that's right before us? Stop hitting me, right? And so the angel said to him, right? And the angel said to him, right? If you dare speak one word against these the people that God has blessed, you'll see what happens to you, right? So then Balak goes to meet the king Balaam. And this is where the part says, you probably heard this in the church, where it says like, what God has blessed can no man curse, right? Because he told him, I cannot curse these people because these are God's chosen people. You understand? Like for me, that's just me. I feel like if you look at things from a spiritual perspective, right, from the enslaved Africans who were brought here onto this land, right, and you go through 400 years of what that journey turns into, right? You cannot deny to yourself that, that's my personal view, that African Americans are a chosen people. But the problem with being a chosen people is spiritual persecution. You understand? When you're chosen, because I'm telling y'all, look, before they brought these Africans here, okay, my people, before they brought Africans here, they tried to enslave the Indians. They tried to enslave Native Americans. Native Americans, their immune system couldn't keep up. The amount of labor it was, the intensity, the workload, it was just too much, okay? So the Native American people started dying. They're like, oh, they're not going to make it. Because initially, they were going to enslave the people who were already here, who are Native Americans. But they can't take it. Like, genetically, they can't take it. I mean, it was just too much, okay? Oh, girl, I can't do this. Oh, Sonia, right? So they go and they take these Africans, right? And although somebody could say to themselves, right, if God was so good, if God was so great, if God was love and God was everything, why would God allow these Anglo-Saxons to kidnap these Africans, bring them here in the most inhumane conditions, right? Torture them, do all this. If God was so good, why would he allow that, right? But at the same time, if God also wasn't good, how come these people survived? Look at how far their great-great-great-great-grandchildren have made it. So even though I don't like the process of slavery, right? But it's like you cannot deny that this is a chosen people. It is a chosen people. It's a people that have favor. But the problem with being a chosen person, the problem with being a chosen people is persecution. Do you understand me? That's what's like. I know it doesn't make sense. I forgot who asked this last time. Like, Marlene, why have I gone through so much? You know what I'm saying? Why do I go through so much? Right? Because, and that's the thing that usually throws you for a loop. If God loves me so much, if God has chosen me, why is my life so difficult? Right? Because you'll see a bunch of wicked people. You'll see people who don't follow the rules. You'll see people who steal, never get caught. You'll see people who have sex, never get pregnant. You'll see all kinds of people. And it's like the more wicked these people are, the more they flourish. But then you look at yourself and then you say to yourself, I barely break the rules. I barely even like steal from, I barely do anything wrong. But somehow my life is so much harder because you're chosen, right? And when you're chosen, persecution, especially spiritual persecution. And this is why, if you open your eyes carefully, you will always see Black America struggles with drug addiction. They want all these rappers, all this degeneracy to be the face of Black America. They want Black children to not like going to school. Do you not see this? You guys, all this stuff is by design because the way God has favored you and somehow you found a way to escape slavery. You found a way to become a U.S. citizen. You found a way to be on equal footing as these Anglo-Saxons. That was never supposed to be the plan. Right? And that's what Joseph said to his brothers. What the devil meant for harm, God turned it around for my good. Right? This is even why today, you look at the Black American church today, they've done everything they could to pervert the Black American church, to take it away from its purpose. They do all kinds of nonsense. And I'm like, this is nothing more than spiritual warfare. You're against these people. Right? Because it's like, if I can't kill you, just like with Balak over here, if we can't kill them, if we can't curse them, right, what we must do is infiltrate them and infiltrate their culture. And through the culture, we're going to get to these people because we can't kill them. So if we infiltrate them, we infiltrate their culture through their music, marriage, whatever you want to call it, right? Eventually, they themselves will sin against God. And once they sin against God, because God is a righteous God, he will have to punish them. You understand, right? He will have, listen to what I'm trying to say. So then he says to him, since you can't fight them because they'll whoop your ass, I can't curse them because I don't want to get killed, right? He said, let your daughters, listen to that. He said, let your daughters go roam into the fields. And let's pray that their sons will have sex with your daughters. So what happens is, you know how you have like the 12 tribes? You have the 12 tribes of Israel. The smallest tribe of Israel, that's the tribe of David. That's the tribe where Jesus comes out of, right? It's the tribe of the Benjamin, right? The Benjaminites, the Benjamin people, right? So the Benjamin people, their sons go into the fields. They see the daughters of Balaam, and they pretty much grape them. They have intercourse with them. I guess they grape them. It's giving sexual assault if you read the story, right? So, because of that, Joshua can no longer pursue those people. Joshua cannot kill those people because now they're your in-laws. They're your in-laws. And this is like, and when you read that story, I'll look it up for you. When you read that story, that's how you also understand that through marriage, right? Through marriage. When you marry foreigners or you marry people of like different cultures, that's another way of attacking a chosen people. Because these foreign women will bring their foreign ways. You see the same thing with King Solomon. By the time he gets older, he starts worshiping all kinds of weird gods. Like, the man becomes really weird, right? Because these foreign wives that he takes on, they come with their foreign god. And because he loves these women, he starts to partake in their religion. You understand me, right? So that's another way to attack a person's culture. When you want to attack a chosen people, you can send daughters from an unclean culture to have sex with them, have kids with them, marry them, because eventually these women will bring their God into the household of a chosen one. And eventually the chosen one, because he'd rather have sex than to be faithful to his God, he will turn his heart away from God and he will start worshiping the God of his foreign wife. Okay, I hope that makes sense though, right? So that's the story right there. So it's like, think about this. Really think about this. So when you think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, on the surface, it sounds really good. It sounds really good. I mean, who will be against it? Like, hey, let's have more opportunities for Black people to have this type of job and this type of job and this type of job. But when you properly study American history, you recognize that everything Black Americans have fought for eventually becomes for other people. Right? So it's like, and they recognize that because you are a chosen people. You have a way of making a way out of no way. But the problem is you don't keep ownership of the movements that you start. And before you know it, a movement that you start, that you fought for, that you died for, becomes somebody else's bonus. It becomes somebody else's cornucopia. And that to me is not okay. Same thing with the civil rights movement, right? Who fights all the wars of the civil rights movement? Who gets lynched? Who has to go to the bars and get their asses whooped? Like, I mean, look at it for yourself. And ultimately, as soon as the Civil Rights Act of 1962-64 gets passed, right, then you have the first gay march, right? And today, if we're being honest, do not come for me, okay? If we're being honest, today, the new civil rights movement in America is the rights of LGBTQ, right? And the majority of those LGBTQ are white people. And the majority of them are white men, right? It's white people. Right? The trans women, the majority of trans women who make the most noise, who want the most rights, who have the most visibility, who make the most money are former white men. You see what I'm trying to say? I'm like, these people are so good. I'm like, this is where, when it comes to dealing with Anglo-Saxons, you have to give them credit. These people are freaking shrewd. They are freaking crafty. Like, their mind is amazing, right? Because they have an ability of rebranding themselves. White people will rebrand oppression and sell it right back to you. And you won't even realize you don't even realize what you're signing up for. And that's why I said, I didn't mean to be offensive, but I've always said, when you look at American history, every time a white man wears a dress, right, from a long dress to a short dress, bad things will happen to Black people. You understand? I was sitting here one day and I saw the outfit, okay? I saw the KKK dress, and I saw the trans movement dress, and I said the only thing that's changed is the length of the hem on the dress, because you still got a white man, okay? You got white men wearing dresses. And every time a white man wears a dress, bad things happen to Black people. The same way the KKK people wear dresses, these people right here, they wear dresses. The same way the KKK had a flag, these people also have a flag. Notice that they always have a flag. Like, white supremacy always has a flag attached to it. Y'all don't come for me. It's the way my brain works, right? You understand? But I'm like, these are white men who are rebranding themselves as oppressed. Imagine that, right? A white man is a white man. When he's born white, he has power. He wears a dress. He has even more power. We are sitting in an age where they're trying to treat using the wrong pronoun, which is not even the wrong pronoun, honestly. But when you don't use a white person's preferred pronoun, they want to treat it the same as you saying a racial slur. right? You can get locked up for saying she instead of he, or a he instead of a she instead of a he, right? But you can never get locked up for using the N-word. Y'all, please open your eyes. Like, open your eyes and see these things for what they truly are. And when the Bible says that there's nothing new under the sun, please understand what I'm saying. Understand what I'm saying? What KKK people, they were the epitome of cancel culture, right? If you do something they don't like, you say something they don't like, they come pick you up, they drag you up, they burn you up, they tie you up, right? What happens with the trans movement? If you tell a trans white woman she can't have something, can't be in a swimming pool, can't be this, what happens? You get canceled. You don't just get canceled, you get destroyed. You get publicly destroyed. You go through a whole public lynching. Think about this. These two movements, they look the same. It is the same. At the foundation of it all, it is white supremacy. And then it kills me all the time. Like, when people don't see that this LGBTQ, especially the T part, the trans part of LGBTQ, when people don't see the white supremacy of it all, I don't even know what to say. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what to say. But today, a white man in a dress has more power than you. A white man in a dress is more oppressed than a black person. This is pure madness. But it's what happens. So it's the same thing. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. The thing about Anglo-Saxons, because I don't want to keep calling them white people, right? But the thing about Anglo-Saxons, they don't mind letting you have something for 5 years in order for them to take over for eternity. And I think that's why Dr. Umar said, like, we're very reactionary. Because when you're not reactionary, you're like, yo, you got me the first time. But the second time, you ain't gonna get me. Right? They don't mind letting black people have jobs or higher jobs for 5 years. It's a small investment. It is a small price to pay because they know ultimately we'll take over. You know what I mean? I remember when I was younger too. I think it was like 7th or 8th grade, right? When we studied Susan B. Anthony. So Susan B. Anthony, she's responsible for the women's suffrage movement, like the right to vote, right? But not just the white woman, because black women could not vote. You understand? And Susan B. Anthony, like, in the beginning of her movement, right? She was buddy with Frederick Douglass. Okay? She was very buddy with Frederick Douglass. She told Frederick Douglass, I hate white men. I hate the white patriarchy. They're oppressing me. Right? He said the same thing. Like, oh, an enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So they started linking up. You understand? And he brought a lot of help to her movement. He told a lot of black women to support Susan B. Anthony. You understand? When this woman got close to getting what she wanted, one day she had him outside because usually he was able to come to the front door. On that day, she told them to go back. Like, she told, meet me outside, the back door outside. And she told Frederick Douglass, I can't kick it with you no more because you're going to dampen my movement because you're black. You understand? What I'm telling, that's why I say, if you're black, and you don't make it your purpose to study history, you're going to repeat the same mistakes of your forefathers. You understand? You have to study history. So he was like, what? So she dropped them. She completely dropped them. But once again, him being black, black people, okay, they have a hard time letting things go. So he said, oh, I'm still going to support her. I still believe in her movement. So when they had their Niagara Fall conference, whatever, she had a big old march, right? And he still told black women to go support her, even though y'all not going to vote, even though she's racist. So the black women still went. When I tell you these black girls were all the way in the back, okay, I was so shocked. I think I was like, what, 8th grade or 9th grade when I learned, like 9th grade or something like that. And it stuck with me. So when I saw Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, I really felt like it was karma. You know what I mean? I was like, for everything Susan B. Anthony did to Frederick Douglass, okay, that's why Barack Obama won over Hillary Clinton. I really felt that way because I'm like, there's nothing new under the sun. And if you have an unpaid debt to somebody, I don't care if it takes 100 years, 200 years, somebody in your bloodline is going to pay for that debt. Okay, because you use these people and you lie to these people. You're going to pay for that debt. So it's like every time there is a movement that is started by black people and black people pay the ultimate sacrifice, they get locked up, They have dogs thrown at them. They get lynched. They get murdered. They get locked up. I mean, they lose their jobs. They're set on fire. I mean, like, it's just the most, like, they pay the heftiest price, right? Cool. Then once everything is passed, another people says, oh, you know what? Well, since it worked for them, let's see how we can get it. And because those people usually are white or have a closer complexion to white people, right? They get to eventually become the face of the movement. But as we sit here in 2024, I think if we care to be honest, we can be honest and say that today the LGBTQ thing, it is the new civil rights movement, right? Because being trans, being gay, being a lesbian, being a queer, right? These are the new oppressed people. And you are sitting here and people want you to believe that a white person based on their sexual orientation is oppressed. And they're just as oppressed as you. They are systemically, like think about this for a second, right? Because a white man can't wear a dress, right? Because a white man can't wear a dress and not be clockable. They really want you to sit here and believe that this person is systemically oppressed. Hold up, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot deny that in life, because life is hard for all people, right? I will never say that people don't experience oppression, right? One time I had this white man over here. He's like, well, I'm poor. I'm like, well, duh. You know, poverty in itself is a form of oppression, but it's not systemic oppression, right? Because you can be poor today and tomorrow you can be a multimillionaire. Okay, so it's like, you know, it's never fun to be poor. Okay, it's never fun. Right. And you have poverty that can last from one generation to the next. Right. But it is possible to come out of poverty. Right. You cannot come out of blackness. You are born black. It's immutable. Okay. It truly is. But today, people truly want you to think that you as a black person, everything you've been through, right? The slavery, it is equivalent to a white person not being able to have a same-sex marriage, a same-sex relationship, or not being able to wear a dress. Can you imagine? Right? As if before all of this, we never had gay white people before. It's nothing new. You think in the KKK, you didn't have gay white boys, the KKK? Sorry, you guys. Right? You think on plantations, you didn't have gay plantation owners? Like, make it make sense. It's a sexual attraction. It didn't happen yesterday. It's not some kind of common cold that fell on people in the 20th century. No, it's always been with us. People have been gay since the Bible. It's nothing new. Many gay white people been existed. Rome was full of gay white men. Sparta was full of very strong alpha male who were gay. Okay, it's nothing new. And also, being gay does not make you weak. There's a lot of strong ass dudes out here who are gay. F around and find out. Okay, not every gay man has a purse and oh my goodness. Okay, there are many gay men who are alpha male, and if they don't tell you, you would know, and they'll whoop that ass. Go try them. Okay, so it's like there's the stuff they sell you on TV. My gay bestie, my gay hairstylist. These are the stereotypes that we have for gay people that are seriously pejorative and they're seriously diminutive, right? But let's also be for real. You have a lot of strong ass dudes who are gay and they will whoop your ass. Don't do it. Don't try it. Okay. Don't do it. F around, find out. Okay. So it's like, no. Right. Just because you experience, and the thing I really want to say also when it comes to like LGBTQ, because sometimes they want to classify it as oppression. You're not oppressed. Rejection is not oppression. Right. And also somebody not agreeing with your lifestyle is not a form of oppression. You are not oppressed. You can still do what you want to do. You know what I mean? A white person is a white person. Before it was okay to have the gay parades and to walk outside with strap-ons and leotards and all kinds of weird stuff, right? Many gay men lived a perfect life. They had jobs, they had careers, they were successful, okay? It has never stopped them from being who they wanted to be. But you being black, you had specific placards that said N-words out here, N-words only, N-words go over here, blah, 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 blah. You've never had slave ships out of Europe where a bunch of gay white boys were put on a slave ship to work in the cotton field because they were gay. You've never been specifically targeted based on your sexuality to say, oh, because you're gay, you're forced to be a slave. No, but that's the story of black people. That is not your story. So you might think you're oppressed. I don't know. I don't really care to discuss that. But my point is, you are not systemically oppressed. Black people are inherently systemically oppressed. We don't have the same oppression. And my thing is, how do you even hide being Black? Even if you put bleach cream on, okay, you put relaxers on, anytime your new growth shows up, it's going to show up nappy. How do you hide your nose, right? How do you hide your phenotype? Yet when you blackity black, you black, okay? And people know you're Black. But when you're, whatever your sexual orientation is, if you don't tell people what your sexual orientation is, how are people going to know? And that in itself is a huge ass privilege. If you don't talk about it, no one knows. You have the luxury to hide it and to still be white and to go about your business and to continue to succeed as a white person. Me, Marlene, as a Black person, do you think I have to tell someone I'm Black? Make it make sense. Make it make sense, right? So I'm like, this is how it goes. So this whole diversity, equity, inclusion, on the surface, it's like a nice icing. Oh, yeah, it's about helping Black people. No, you guys, because eventually that same diversity inclusion is going to be a way for LGBTQ to be the new oppressed class in the workplace. So I said, no, stop using Black people for this foolishness. Stop using Black people for your foolishness. Even when it came to teaching like race theory at school, right? The reason why I said no, I'm not for that, because I knew it has nothing to do with teaching people Black history. It has nothing to do with teaching young people about respecting the contribution of African Americans in American history. No, it is a conduit. It is an avenue. It's a Trojan horse to bring sexual issues in school, sexual identity, sexual this, sexual that. They want to teach your kids about homosexuality, about changing their gender identity, pedophilia. This is what they want to do, but they don't have the courage to tell you what they truly want to do. So what they know is, what is more palatable is to say, oh, we just want to know more about Black culture. We want to know, because once you start with race theory, what's next? Gender theory, right? Because it really is a theory. And ask yourself, why are we teaching theories to young people, to children? Right? These are things that you save for college. And sometimes you save them for 400 level classes, or you save them for grad school because it's a theory. Boom, bang, the Big Bang theory. Do you learn that in elementary school? No, it's too much. It's a theory, right? You understand? But I'm like, after you do race theory, then you have to do gender theory. You can't just stop at race, right? Because if you stop at race, now you're discriminating. So you got to do it all. And I'm like, no, I see, like, you got to see things 100 miles ahead. Don't just see what they put in front of you. You understand? When you're Black person, when you are the descendant of an enslaved, when you know the number of bad contracts that we've had with Anglo-Saxons, right? From this contract to every contract they had Black people sign was a bad contract, where they make all these promises. Right? If you do all of this, we'll give you this. Abraham Lincoln. Oh, if you serve in the army, you'll have your own weapons. You'll make money. I'll pay you. Child, the war ended. He took the weapons. He never paid the people. And then he got shot in the head. I think he deserved it. Okay? They never paid the people. Some of the Black people say, oh, hell no. Because you have me killing white people. Now you want me without a gun? You're crazy. So those people became the Buffalo Soldiers. They didn't turn back their weapons. They didn't turn back their uniform. And they definitely did not turn back these horses. They went about their business. They just went away. Right? And like, if you ever listen to Bob Marley has a song called Buffalo Soldiers in the Heart of America, dreadlock Rastas, right? Because I guess they just let their hair grow with a bunch of sand in it, right? But these are the Buffalo Soldiers. You'll see them back with Teddy Roosevelt, because they're going to help Teddy Roosevelt to get back the Alamo. That's how America gets Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, thanks to Black people. Because when they went to the Alamo the first time, these white boys, they got their asses beat by the Mayan people, okay? So the second time he goes back with the Black people, with the Buffalo Soldiers. And hey, Diana, and that's one part too, they gloss over it so quickly. But without those Black people, they never would have had Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and all these states, right? I'm like, you're crazy. You are really crazy. You are seriously crazy. You're insane. Hold on. Let me play Dr. Umar real quick.
They are physically diluting your strength, mass incarcerating your men. They have normalized Black femicide and infant mortality and maternity death. Have you realized that there's nothing functional about the Black community? There's nothing at all functional about the black community. What's functional in our community? The black church does nothing for the black community. It's dysfunctional. Gangster rap and hip hop does nothing for the black community. It's dysfunctional. The black businesses do nothing for the black community but rob it and take their wealth back to a white suburb where they live. Completely dysfunctional. Fraternities and sororities don't do anything for the black community. They're dysfunctional. What is functional in the black community? I know. You functionally use your paycheck to empower people in other communities while you splurge on useless material garbage. That's the only thing functional. You functionally deprive your community of your money while you give it to other people. And they take your spending power and they translate it into political weaponization against the black community. We live to empower people in other communities while you splurge on useless material garbage. That's the only thing functional.
You know? And this, hey Army, what's up? You guys, the baby's here, y'all. You know? And this is a part where I really agree with Dr. Umar, because once again, you guys, y'all, I swear, you think you start thinking about stuff, you can't stop thinking about stuff, right? Think about, hold on, let me show you this. Yes, boo-boo, what's up? Hold on. That's your way of saying hi to people. Hold on. You want to say hi to your people? Say hi, aunties and uncles. What's up? What's happening? Hey, hey, baby Maverick. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Okay. Y'all, look at this for a second, right? These are the countries with the most gold, right? Hold on. He's gonna give us some time. Hold on. Let me breastfeed him quietly. He'll be really nice to us, right? Okay, see? Now he's quiet, right? But I'm like, one day I sat here and I was like, look at the countries. Look at all the countries. Who is his white father? Lexi, you so silly. Lexi's so damn stupid. Okay. Okay. So, but look at the countries with the most gold, right? All right. So you have the US, you have Germany, you have Italy, you have France, right? America, it makes sense. You actually do have gold in America, right? But then look at the other countries. Like, look at all these other European countries and ask yourself, exactly how did they get all this gold, right? From stealing. These are mostly countries who took part in colonization, slavery. Italy, you know, France being one of them, right? France is one of them. China, well, China's taking more gold because all the trade they do with all these African countries, right? You also have, hold on, look at the UK, right? UK is where? Is right here. Where is United Kingdom is 18, right? So the majority of these European countries, all their gold deposits are mostly stolen. They stole. And how you think they stole? Because they probably told these African people, because most of this gold is taken from Africa, right? I promise you, they told these Africans, oh, you know what? Carrying gold is so heavy. Aren't you tired of carrying this gold every single day, right? Let me give you some paper, because it's true. Paper is a lot easier to carry than gold. Imagine if you got to go pay for a cow, you got to go pay for this, pay for that, and every time you got to go carry gold with you, right? It's heavy. It is too heavy. So the white people came up with a plan. Let's make it easier for you. We'll give you paper, and then we'll just hold on to the gold for you. Before you know it, these Africans, they have whole types of paper, and the white men took their gold, right? And it's the same thing with consumerism, right? When they tell you, oh, go buy Louis Vuitton, go buy this, go buy that. I don't know if you guys saw this recently, but there was like a whole scandal that came out because they found out that these Dior bags are like $50. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's like a whole scandal now with all these Dior bags being exposed because allegedly Dior is out here paying $50 for the manufacturing cost of their bags. And then they turn around and they sell these bags for $3,500, $4,000, $6,000, and the whole time the cost of production plus the raw material, it's like it comes out to like $57. So imagine their profit, right? So you make something for $50, but you sell it for $3,500. So you walk away with $3,450 worth of benefit of profit, and it's like, yeah, that's perfectly normal, right? And we don't realize, like, every time you play into consumerism, you're taking your money, like physical money that could get interest, that could be worth so much more. You're giving it to somebody else in exchange for a bag, for a car, etc., etc. And what you're doing is you're giving them financial power. Every financial transaction where you exchange goods for money and you receive the goods and you give somebody else your cash or your gold or whatever, you are making that person so much more powerful, right? So much more powerful, because unlike you, they don't even care about this luxury stuff they're selling you. They don't care about these bags they're selling you. They want your money. So they come up with a whole system of consumerism to swindle money out of you. And before you realize, you have a whole lot of stuff and they have lots of cash. And like they say, money is king. Whoever has the most amount of money is king. They make the rules. They decide who's going to be politician. They decide who's going to live in this neighborhood, who's not going to live in that neighborhood, right? Because there's a lot of power that comes with having money. You understand? So and that's why I said, like, I had an issue with this whole, like, Beyonce and Rihanna and the whole hair care line. I was like, no, because they're not even the ones behind these brands. You're going to look into it, it's a bunch of white people. Okay. So ultimately, they're the face of it to make you feel like you're helping a Black woman succeed with her business. But in all honesty, you're helping white people get money out of Black people. Okay. For some hair conditioner. Meanwhile, you have a lot of Black women who actually are owners, founders, CEOs of their own hair care brand. Why don't you support them first? Because those people, the money stays over here. Over there, you only have a Black face. You have a Black face. But ask yourself, who's really running the operation? When you look at Fenty Hair Care, who's really running the operation, right? When you look at Secret, who's truly running the operation? These are just Black faces. Oh, he's eating right now. I'll put him up again. Okay. So I'm like, so this is what he's saying. Like, we waste a lot of our wealth on foolishness, right? Because we want to have things. Because another thing also, not to be offensive, right? But one of the biggest lies that we were ever sold from these Anglo-Saxons, that we have to buy identity. We have to buy a sense of respect. We have to buy who we are. We have to, so we're always chasing. I need to look successful. I have to look successful, right? Because that's the lie they sold us. That just being who you are is not enough. You must wear things. You must drive certain things. You must live in a certain amount of square footage, right? For you to be somebody. And it's like, not really. Right? I'm already somebody. And not just that, the fact that I know who God is and God knows who I am. Yeah, I'm already someone, right? But they don't want you to lean on, like, your spiritual understanding of who you are, or even like your cognitive understanding of who you are. Instead, they want you to rely on their trinkets. Right? You'll see a bunch of Black people over here who can be very talented, but they'll cry because they didn't get a Grammy. I'm like, okay, who cares? Who cares, right? You'll see a bunch of very talented Black people, but they'll cry because they never got an Oscar, or they never got a Tony, or they never got X, Y, and Z, because you feel like these white trinkets make you somebody. They validate you. They reinforce who you are, and they confirm who you are. Because, like, do you not know who you are? Do you not know who you are? Why must you always go at the temple of white people and try to get some type of trinket to feel like, oh, wow, now I'm somebody? You are already someone. And if they never acknowledge you, who cares? Acknowledge yourself and love yourself, okay? Love yourself.
Functionally deprive your community of your money while you give it to other people. And they take your spending power and they translate it into political weaponization against the Black community. We literally finance our own gentrification. We literally finance our own political subjugation. We literally finance our own economic retardation. We keep on having history conferences. We keep on having history conferences. History is important. I love studying history. I will be the Black history teacher at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. I will be the Black history teacher at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. I will be the Black history teacher at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. But what good is studying your history when you haven't taken care of your future? What good is studying your history if you haven't taken care of your future? What good is studying your history?
And this is why I always say, for as much as I do believe that it's important for us to talk about Black history, right? I said it before, always looking backwards sometimes it's not always healthy, because Black history should not just be about the history that has happened, but it also needs to be about what's going to happen in the future. Like, how do you want the future to look like? Because that too will be Black history. But if you're always looking in the back and you're always looking behind, how do you plan for yourself, and how do you plan for generations to come to make sure that those Black children and those Black great-grandchildren have a way better Black experience than the rest of us, right? Come on, because that's so real. That is so real. Always say, look at the past, look at the past, look at the past. But we must also plan for the future. The people who are dead, they're already dead. But the people who are living, they have an obligation to make a better tomorrow, a better year, a better 5 years from now, a better 20 years from now, a better 50 years from now for the generations that are to come. How do you want Black children to live 20 years from now? What kind of conversations do you want Black children to have 15 years from now, 50 years from now? Are they going to talk about the same thing? I'm like, it's so crazy how when you go on TikTok, for example, whatever, but when you see old videos of Malcolm X and the thing he says, you're like, whoa, we're still going through the same things today. We are still experiencing everything he said 20, 40, 50 years ago. And I'm like, wow, so nothing really has changed. No, because it's all an illusion of progress, but nothing really has changed, right? So it's like when you live your life as a Black person, you also got to ask yourself, like, Black history is not just about what was, but it's like, it's the present, but it's also what kind of future do we want for Black children? Because I feel like once we start asking these questions and we come with some type of answers for these questions, you will know how to pick your political people a whole lot better. You know, because now you have a vision for your future and you're not just living in the moment. And that's the part that really gets me when it comes to politics, is that people are worried about the past and the past, or what's going to happen today, what's going to happen next week. When you look at most corporations, from Walmart to Chick-fil-A to Amazon to Tesla, these people are planning 10 years ahead. They're planning 20 years ahead. They're planning 30 years ahead, because they know eventually those days, those years will come. Time flies, you guys. Time flies like crazy. Before you know it, we're going to be in 2034, right? So as we're living here right now, what do we want for the future? Like, what do we want for our young people? You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I hope that we get our minds together and we design a better future for Black children, because they deserve that. I'm like, it's madness to me.
And you're not taking care of your future. Black people never talk about the future. We have no agenda, no plan, no program except to wait on God and wait on the white man. What kind of a racial agenda is that? Waiting for the elections is waiting on the white man. Waiting for reparations is waiting for the white man. And many of you pray to a white Jesus, so waiting on God is also waiting for a white man. Somebody said we was here 200 years before the white people. Okay, and what problem?
You know what's in your cheap protein powder? Well, here to tell us is all-natural fitness athlete Paul Sklar.
All right, let's see what we've got.
Did that just solve? Here we go again. Historical masturbation. We were here 200 years before the white man. We were actually here more than 200 years before the African had already transmigrated every continent. But what problem did that solve? You a Chickasaw, Choctaw, Indian. What problem did that solve? There's aliens that are visiting the planet Earth. What problem did that solve? There's people living under the earth. What problem did that solve? See, the problem with the American Negro is you need to be constantly entertained. You're the most childish people in the country, extremely childish. If you're not being entertained, you cannot tackle serious problems. If you are not being entertained, you cannot tackle serious problems. This is why whenever you want to organize American Negroes, you got to give them entertainment or food. If there's no food or entertainment, they're not coming. No other group has to feed and entertain their people in order to keep their attention.
So if you guys don't know, this is how they celebrate Juneteenth. I mean, it's just pure madness. This is how they celebrated Juneteenth, you guys. It was just look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Pure foolishness. Pure foolishness. Oh.
No other group has to feed or entertain their people in order to keep their attention. But you have to do that with the American Negro because we're not serious enough. We are not serious enough to stay focused without food and entertainment. This is why the politicians use rappers to push their campaign. Only in the Black community are entertainers used to get out the vote. You don't see that in other communities. You might see an entertainer here or an entertainer there. You don't see Chinese comedians and Chinese basketball players being used to attract the Chinese vote. That only works with Black people because we are not serious. Don't tell me to go easy. Political economic suffocation, and you're telling me to go easy? Do you go easy in the weave store? Do you go easy in Foot Locker? Do you go easy at the jewelry store? Do you go easy in the white restaurant? Do you go easy when you're preparing for your children's proms? Do you go easy on the cruise? Do you go easy on vacation? But when I'm talking about the reconstruction of Black America, you want me to go easy. You know why? Because you're not serious. We are not a serious people, and that's why nobody takes us seriously. That's why nobody takes us seriously. There's only one question that matters. How long will it take you to weaponize your money to save your children's future? That's the only question that matters. I don't want to hear about a government grant. I don't want to hear about a white bank loan. I don't want to hear about any of that. What are you going to do with what you have? That's the only question. We always looking for grants. No. If you think the government is going to help you when the government created all your problems, what drug are you taking? What drug are you taking? I don't see no hospitals being built. Where the hospital? Can somebody show me an independent Black hospital?
And this is why even yesterday I had to ask a friend of mine because we were watching the we're all watching the debate yesterday, right? And I asked her because she likes to support Democrats and Joe Biden. And I said to her, when you hear things like $200 billion being sent to Ukraine, you're not triggered? Like, seriously, you're not triggered? You're not upset? You're not angry? You're not upset? Because I'm like, and I told her, I was like, for me, I've come to recognize this, you guys. I've come to make peace with this, right? It's that everything we go through out here is honestly by design, right? Because when America has $200 billion to send to a foreign country across the Atlantic, a European nation, right? Like Trump, don't like Trump, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. But one thing Trump said yesterday during the debate, I was like, yeah, it is so right. He was like, why aren't the Europeans paying for the war in Ukraine? Right? Because honestly, however this lands, whatever the outcome is, whether Ukraine wins or Russia wins, it affects Europeans more than affects us as America. I'm like, there's a whole Atlantic Ocean between us, right? Why should we be emotionally, financially invested for whatever happens to the Ukrainians? I have no intentions of going to Kiev at all, okay? I don't care. I don't care. And my thing is, if it takes you to take loans to fight a war, maybe you shouldn't fight the war. If it takes you $200 billion to fight a war and you still have not won, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, you might as well lay down and accept defeat because $200 billion and you still haven't won. Make it make sense. It's been 3 years, $200 billion. You're still losing, baby. Okay, when are you gonna get it? The Russian people are stronger. It's okay. But my thing is, Europe should be more invested and they should pay more money to sort this thing out. Why is America paying for it? But when you have a nation that has $200 billion, right, for pet projects abroad, right, it lets you know, you guys, if they truly wanted to clean up Chicago, they would have done it. Okay, all this gang violence, this foolishness these kids are doing up there in Chicago, if they wanted to clean that mug, that thing would have been clean. I'm talking like Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. I'm talking like Clorox, Pine Sol, Windex, okay, Mr. Bubbles. It would have been clean. They have the money. If they want to clean New Orleans, if they want to clean up New Orleans, if they want to clean up Memphis, if they want to clean up Chicago, they want to clean up, who else? St. Louis, Atlanta, they could clean those cities in a heartbeat. Oakland, clean that mug up. They have the money, okay? They don't want to clean it up. because they make money when Black people hurt each other. They make money when Black people kill each other. Because think about this. Think about it for a second, right? When you have crime actually creates jobs, right? Because when there's crime, you need police officers, you need a sheriff, you need a magistrate, you need a judge, you need a bailiff, you need a district attorney, an assistant district attorney, right? You need the prison staff, you need parole officers, correctional officers, a warden, etc., etc. Like, think about the number of jobs that are created because of crime. Think about it, right? So if you actually clean up crimes, you're going to create unemployment. Okay. But I'm like, they have the money. They have the money to clean up those cities. They have the money to rebuild schools, even better schools. They have the money to bring great teachers, qualified teachers. They have the money for after school programs, before the school program. They have the money to make sure these kids have some of the best schools you've ever seen. They have the money. They don't care to fix it. Because when you really, and I'm like, this is where you get older, you become wiser when it comes to politics, and you recognize that politicians are problem makers, right? Politicians are parasites. Politicians, they're like bad bacteria, okay? They create the problems, because without problems, who needs these people, right? They're like bad birds. They're like awful demonic prophets, right? They create the problems. They create the division. They incentivize crime. They incentivize dysfunction, right? Because if there's a problem, then they're needed. If there are no problem, who needs politicians? Who needs them? And that's why I get why libertarians are all about having the smallest type of government possible, right? But I'm like, they have the money. They have the money. Hey, I said they have the money to clean up student loans. They have the money. You know, even if you want to see, even if you have a different vision of what the police could be between the community and the police force, whatever, they have the money to create those programs. They have money for after school programs. They have money to have a lower teacher to student ratio in the classroom. They have the money. They don't care to invest the money to reduce crime, to clean up the cities, to increase home value properties of in black neighborhoods, right? For black homeowners. They have the money. They don't care. Look at how quickly they gave $200 billion to Ukraine, right? But they'll tell you, oh, because Russia, Russia, who cares about Russia, child? Let Russia do what it do. And my thing is, if you even think about it, let's even say, okay, you don't want to invest the money in Black America. You don't want to clean up all these cities and create a better standard of living, right? Sure, fine, whatever, right? But do you not think that it would be more prudent for America to loan this money to Latin American countries than to loan the money to to Ukraine? Because think about it, you guys, not to be offensive, not to insult anyone, not to mean anything disrespectful, right? But when you think about the level of crime in Latin America, right? I was looking at a documentary in Honduras, right? Honduras, right? Yeah. With MS-13. Y'all, when you see these gangs from Latin America, these people are a different type of violent, right? And you look at their prison system, the fact that they don't have databases, they don't take fingerprints, they're not really organized, right? And we look at the border problem. We look at the kind of people coming to the borders, the fact that we don't know who these people are because we have no database. We have no data on these people. So what happens is when they come through at the border, they are arrested at the border, right? People take their fingerprints, they're arrested, and then they're given a date to come back as if they're going to come back, and they're released into the country, right? But I'm like, if we have $200 billion to spend to help other countries, I would think it would be a better investment to help these Latin American countries to take a loan from America in order to build better prisons, yes, and a better data system for their criminals, right? So that way we could connect our database to their database. So when their people are crossing over into America, we can know who these people are. So whether you're coming from Brazil, you're coming from Paraguay, Bolivia, Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, I don't know, Costa Rica, wherever, right? When you come in, we have your database, we know who you are. Does that make sense, you guys, right? Because I'm like, it's a lot of crime and it's a lot of poverty in Latin America. Not to be offensive, right? And most of the time, if you are a criminal in your country, life might be really hard. But if you come to America, you can start over. But yet you're still a criminal. You still have a mindset of a criminal. You still want to do criminal things. But in America, nobody knows who you are. So you get to have a brand new life the whole time. You could be a mass murderer. You could be a pedophile. You could have killed 20,000 grandmothers. We have no idea, right? So you would think a smart people would be like, you know what? We are more likely, and I'm not saying this to be offensive, okay? And I'm not saying that everybody who comes from Latin America is a criminal. I'm not saying that, okay? But given the poverty, the unstable currencies, the kind of, you know, there's a strong taste for criminal and gang activities in Latin America. Not trying to be offensive, but it's the truth, though. It's the truth, okay? And I'm like, we as Americans, we should be able to know who's coming into our borders. So for me, if I was the president or if I was a member of Congress, that's what I would vote for, right? Give loans to these Latin American countries that they can use towards prison reform and also having a proper like inventory database system of their criminals, okay? We should have their pictures, we should have their fingerprints, and if we also need, we should have their DNA. Okay, so that when you come to the borders, when our immigration officers or when ICE or whoever's at the border, when they detain you, right, that where you're being detained, where they're taking your fingerprints, whatever, they can have enough, you'd be detained for 24, 48 hours. In the time where you're being detained at the border, those officers can connect to that database, right, and properly apprehend criminals who need to be returned back to their countries, or if you don't want to be returned back to your country, we'll take your ass to the closest maximum facility prison. You understand? You understand, right? Because that's like, to me, that is paramount. Because sometimes when I sit here, not trying to be offensive, I'm not trying to be offensive, but when I sit here and I look at crime in Brazil, I look at crime in El Salvador, Honduras has gotten better. You look at crime in Mexico, you know, and the way the Latin people kill, not to be offensive, right? But Latin people, when they kill people, they like to behead people. They like to use machetes. They're over the top. Okay, they throw people in acid. You know what I'm saying? Like they're really violent. And many of them also are involved in like spiritual witchcraft type of stuff. Like they kill babies. Hey, Nessa, it's a lot. It's a lot. You know what I mean? Because many of them they're spiritualists. Okay, they are spiritualists. And I'm like, they're different type of criminals. Because here in America, it's very rare to hear somebody use a machete and behead a person. Okay, but in many Latin American countries, it is very normal for someone to be chopped up, right? It's very normal for them to shoot in broad daylight, shoot cars, shoot children. You'll have mom and dad in the car. They'll shoot at the car. They don't care. They really do not care. They are very brazen like that. We don't have the same culture. Not to be offensive, right? Not to be offensive. Because, you know, sometimes people will talk about immigration. Oh, but America was a country built on immigration. We're all immigrants. Heck yeah, even my ass is an immigrant. But the thing is, you have civilized immigrants that are educated, it's very easy for them to like, you know, assimilate into the current culture. It's very easy for them to obey the laws because these are civilized immigrants who have a great level of education, okay? But then you also have barbaric immigrants. Like all immigrants are not the same. And so this notion that we have to be so nice to people or be nice to immigrants because everybody somehow is an immigrant. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because some immigrants have a very violent culture. Okay. Some immigrants have a very misogynistic culture, right? Some cultures are awful. Okay. And some cultures do not align with American ideals. Not trying to be offensive. Okay, so some people need to be disciplined. I'm not trying to be offensive, y'all. I'm not trying to be offensive, right? But one day I was sitting here and I was watching a whole like movie about crime in Brazil and things like that, and I'm like, yo, if these people ever make it to America, we are screwed, okay? Because they're so brazen. They are so brazen. I wish you could see, like maybe I'll play later. You could see the prisons in El Salvador. No, sorry, El Salvador, right? Like MS-13, that gang, no, it's a whole, these people they're on something else, okay? they are truly on something else. And I'm like, if these MS-13 people invade America, no, our cities will not be safe. You know, and they believe in kidnapping, okay? And they believe in kidnapping. It's Honduras, right? No, El Salvador. Let me show y'all. You know, but I'm like, look at some of the, but I'm like, people like this coming into America? No, we need to know. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like, we need to know. A guy like this, okay, the FBI, the CIA, okay, they should be able to access their data. I'm talking their fingerprints. I'm talking hair sample. I'm talking their DNA. I'm talking, like, I need to know who you are, boo-boo. Okay? Because this is crazy. And we're over here neglecting what's happening at the border. We're over here neglecting the financial, economic instability of these Latin countries. We're neglecting the poverty of these countries. We are neglecting the love of violence in these countries, right? You know what I mean? But before you know it, these people will be at our border. And when they show up at the border, they're just detained for like a day or two, and then they're giving a court date and they're released into nature, right? So I'm like, for me, I feel like more money should go to Latin American countries to force them to build better prisons. Because this one is not so hard to get out. It's hard to get out of. But a lot of these other countries, though, the way their prisons are built, it is very easy for people to escape the prison. Okay? It's very easy to escape. And in many Latin American prisons, too, the inmates make all the rules. They make all the rules. They run the city from the prison. They run the government from the prison, right? So I'm like, we have to pay attention to Latin America. And we have to pay attention to crime in Latin America. And we have to force these Latin American countries to create a database that the FBI and the CIA and our border patrol people can connect into, to make sure that if ever any of these criminals come to our borders, we send their asses back. Tu trasero, go back to your country, tu país. Yeah. And they're going to come over here and brutalize the rest of us. Like, no, you guys, no. You got to think about these types of things because it's real. It is very real. Okay, so let me play Dr. Umar. Hold on.
Built anywhere in Black America? Can somebody show me an independent Black hospital where Black people have come together to safeguard their health by creating their own hospital? What about an independent Black clinic in America? Do we have an independent Black clinic looking out for our babies, looking out for our elders, looking out for our disabled citizens? Do we have a hospital or clinic in the works at all? And y'all talking about Bronny James. And y'all talking about Bronny James. I'm happy for Bronny James. I want to see LeBron and his son on the court together. But Snow Bunny Bronny James isn't going to solve your problems. Snow Bunny Bronny James isn't going to solve your problems. He's just a child. You have to solve your problems and stop looking for distractions. Stop looking for distractions. Stop looking for distractions. Stop looking for distractions. How many independent schools are we working on right now? How many independent schools are we working on right now? Let's go to Whole Food markets owned by Africans. Black Whole Foods markets. How many of them are we working on to feed our people real food? Nutrition and diet, major causes of disease. Nutrition and diet, major problems and causes of disease in the Black community. Is there any conference coming up to build Whole Food markets owned by the Black community? Can I go to that conference? Can somebody send me the flyer for that? Where's that conference at?
And and one thing I'm also sick of, I know it sounds crazy because you would be like, oh, but Martin, it's just food. No. You guys, food is not just responsible for causing like physical ailment, like disease, blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, et cetera, right? But y'all, I really do feel like the worse your diet is, the more likely you are to make bad decisions, the more likely you are to be in a bad mood, the more likely you are to be irate, and so that just leads to you making poor choices. You understand? Like, it's not just that you're gonna have the high blood pressure, because it might not happen right away. You gotta like eat bad for many decades to get high blood pressure, right? You're gonna have to eat a lot of bad food for a long time to get diabetes, right? But in the every day that you have a poor diet, ask yourself if you're gonna be in the best frame of mind, right? Are you gonna be at your optimal state? Are you gonna be in your optimal emotional state when you're constantly high on sugar, processed food, etc., 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 right? A lot of us don't eat right. And I wish sometimes we could see that the healthier the diet, the healthier your decisions. I'm being serious, okay? The healthier your diet, more likely you're probably going to have less emotional outbursts throughout the day. You probably will have less rage throughout the day. You'll probably have less anger throughout the day, because the better you eat, it already lets us know that you have a better relationship with yourself, right? Because you guys, I'm telling you, there's something about being mindfulness, right? Mindfulness and being present in the moment. When you're mindful of what you eat every single day, we can kind of tell that you have a better relationship with self, because you are being mindful with the stuff that you put into your body. And when you are showing us that you are mindful with the things that you put into your body, you're more likely to have a better loving relationship with yourself, right? Because when you care, you pay more attention to something, right? If you are more mindful of your food, if you're more mindful of the things that you eat, how you eat, and how often you eat, right? Most likely you are in a space in your life where you are developing, or you're working on having a better relationship with self, right? And that honestly is a form of freedom. It truly is. It might not seem like it. You'd be like, oh, but Marlene, like, it's just food. It's a simple act. But I'll tell you, simple things matter. And simple things, they say a lot about you. They really do, right? If somebody's sitting here all day consuming processed food, Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, Burger King, pizza, back to back to back to back to back to back, you never even have any type of fiber. You don't try to drink any type of water. Something is going on in your life because you don't care. You don't care because you're not present. You're not mindful. You're not in the moment. Otherwise, you will say to yourself, okay, I got to stop. Okay, I've done too much for today. I've done too much for the week. Next week, I got to eat better. Like little things like that, it shows you mindfulness. But when a people is enslaved to food, when a people is enslaved to horrible food that honestly has no nutritional value to it, it tells you something. You're looking at people who are most likely depressed. They don't care. They're just living in the moment. They're living for joy through food. And that is problematic. Something small, but it's really big.
I don't want to go to another conference on King Tut. I don't want to go to another conference on Nile Valley history. Where is the damn conferences to create a future for African children? Where's that conference at? Mm-hmm. What about an independent Black bank? And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about superficial Black banks that are financed by white banks. I'm talking about real Black banks from top to bottom. Where are they at? Funding businesses in the Black community. Where are they? Don't talk about Jay-Z. You're trying to scapegoat him. This is not about Jay-Z. This is not about any Black billionaire. We are a $2 trillion people. Stop scapegoating celebrities. We are a $2 trillion people. Stop scapegoating celebrities. We are a $2 trillion people. Stop scapegoating celebrities. What are we going to do on the street? The grassroots. We need systemic transformation. Stop looking for superheroes to save you. That's your problem. Mm-hmm. Jesus is a superhero.
Yeah.
The big problem with Black folks is we're waiting for a superhero because we want no part of the responsibility to save ourselves. We're always looking for a superhero, whether they come out the Bible, whether they come out the Quran, whether they come out the Torah. We're always looking for a superhero to save Black folks. No, 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 no. Black people will not be saved by a superhero. Black people will be saved by working together, or Black people will be destroyed. It's really just that simple. We are halfway in the cemetery as a people anyway. Let's just keep it a buck. We are halfway in the cemetery as a people anyway. Let's just keep it a buck. We are halfway.
And so hold on, let me show y'all. Hold on. Is my mic on? Okay, yeah. Let me show y'all this, right? So this is a famous pastor in Congo, right? So you have two Congos. This is the big one, the DRC Congo, right? So right now there's all this genocide, and there's always been genocide in Congo because it's a very, very wealthy country. Like in natural resources, they are seriously wealthy. Okay, even wildlife, they're seriously wealthy, right? So they're constantly being attacked. Rwanda attacks them, Uganda attacks them. The people steal the mines. I mean, it's a hot mess. America's always stealing from them, right? So you have this very famous pastor. That's exactly what he's saying. No superhero thing. You have this very famous pastor, right? His name is Marcelo. He just lost his wife because I guess she went to do some type of surgery and now she did. Okay, so they were out there in the rain, you guys. They were in the rain at the stadium. Let me see if I can show y'all. Hold on.
I saved hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Liberty, liberty, liberty. Liberty.
Liberty. Okay.
Think about a child you love. Now take away their clean clothes, access to water.
Okay. So you see these people, child? Do you see these people? Okay. Their country is, ever since I was born, Congo's always been getting robbed, the wars, like the genocide right now is crazy. People getting snatched up. Okay. Women are being snatched up. Women are being raped. Women are being bound. Their feet are being bound. Their hands are being tied behind their back. They're being held. The people are using machetes. You guys see people shove machetes in people's vaginas. It is atrocious, right? Here you have a famous pastor. Instead of telling these young people to go join the military, okay, I'm not trying to be funny. Instead of telling these young people, go join the military, it's time for us to go save our country. It's time for us to go save our countrymen. It's time for us as men to protect our women. Nobody should be coming from Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, and feeling like they can come over here and just slaughter our people. Oh, heck no. Because you touch one, you touch us all. No. They're sitting there praying in the rain, thinking that somehow Jesus is going to show up. God is going to show up. They think this is some I mean, you guys, I saw this. And I was like, religion has set Black people behind. So you see, they're so proud of themselves, right? They think they've done something, praying in the rain. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to be like Jesus. They want big miracles. They want the clouds to open up. And then Jesus is going to come out on a white horse and he's going to fix all the problems of Congo. Where it's like, no, people have to take ownership, right? People have to be willing to fight. People have to be willing to die. People have to be willing to do whatever it takes to protect their people, right? So he had this big, pretentious, to me, it's very pretentious and it's very stupid, okay? To have look at the whole stadium, right? And I'm like, look at the whole stadium. Look at this being performative, et cetera, et cetera. Imagine if all these young people had enlisted for the military that night. Okay. All these young people sign up to join the military and to go set their people free and to take back their stuff, take back their women, take back their villages, take back their children, take back what belongs to you. No, they want to sit here and pray. This is what religion has done to Black people around the world. Look at this. So he has his wife standing there. I'm like, and the lady could have gotten pneumonia. This is irresponsible. It is so irresponsible. And not even, you see all this prayer they did, y'all. Not even 2 weeks later, the lady is dead. The wife right there, she's gone. She's gone, y'all. It goes to show you all of this is performative. It is performative. Because we're looking, I'm like, it's a diaspora problem. Because we're looking for big miracles. We're looking for Jesus to be a superhero instead of doing what we have to do. Even in the Bible, when you read the story of Nehemiah, okay, Nehemiah was building with one hand and he had a weapon in another hand. Okay, being a Christian does not mean being a coward. Okay, you have the right to fight. You must, first of all, you must fight. You must protect yourself. You must defend yourself. You must defend your home, defend your children, defend your woman. You have that's an obligation that you have as a Christian. Okay, never in the Bible does it say that you must sleep at church, spend 3 hours at church, 15 hours at church, your whole life at church. You are called as a man to protect your family. Okay, God calls you to protect your family. God calls you to protect your nation. Like, what is this foolishness? What is this foolishness? So that's exactly what he's talking about.
As a people, anyway. Let's just keep it. You wanted to assimilate into white America. And that's exactly what you got. Full assimilation. They have assimilated you so much that you don't even matter anymore. That's what you get for wanting to be an assimilationist. You're not an integrationist. Dr. King was an integrationist. Medgar Evers was an integrationist. Integrationists fight for access to resources and opportunities. We don't fight for access for resources and opportunities. Integrationists have courage. They fight for a share of the American dream. Al Sharpton doesn't fight for a share of the American dream. You're not an integrationist. I can respect an integrationist. You are an assimilationist. Let me in. I will keep quiet and I will imitate you to the fullest extent of my ability. I will imitate the Caucasian so much that I won't even be recognizable. And once I am no longer recognizable, I can be ignored, politically and economically irrelevant. So the only thing left for them to do to a politically and economically irrelevant group of people, the only thing left to do to an economically and politically irrelevant group of people, extermination. But they're not going to do it themselves. They're going to let the immigrants do it. I feel sorry for those of you.
Since Mark is here too. Same thing with Haiti too, right? Haiti, you have all these pastors. I forgot. Oh, there's one pastor. He's very skinny like that. He's very tall, very skinny. You guys, when he does his prayer meetings in like Port-au-Prince, when I tell you, there are so many Black people, there are so many Haitian people who go to his prayer meetings. I was even watching his prayer meeting for New Year's Eve last time, right? I'm like, there are so many people, but the whole time you have thugs, you have gang members, you have people who escaped the Haitian prisons who have completely taken over the country. They have taken over the city. They have threatened the president. The president was so scared he resigned, right? And you would think, once again, that these pastors will tell these men, for as much as you believe in God, be brave and fight for your nation, fight for your neighborhood, fight back. No, they're running, they're hiding, they're cowards, they're in a little corner somewhere, and they let these people take over the city with their guns, terrorizing the entire country. They're terrorizing people. Meanwhile, you have people who call themselves Christians. Make it make sense. Right? I'm like, honor, duty, protection is also part of being a Christian. If you call yourself a Christian as a man, you should be willing to do whatever it takes to protect your family, protect your house, protect your neighborhood, protect your city, protect your country, period. Okay? But no, people are hiding in church. They are hiding in church. They pray, they cry, they wait for miracles. There's no miracles. That's why I say I don't think Christ is coming. He don't need to come. Okay, because this whole notion of telling people that, oh, Jesus is coming back. Jesus is coming back. I think it really makes people feel like, well, I don't have to step up. I don't have to do better. I don't have to get involved. I don't have to sacrifice because you know what? Ultimately, Christ is coming. And when Christ comes, he'll take care of everything. I think it's very shameful. I think it's really shameful. You know what I mean? Because how can you have so many churches? How can you have pastors who can bring out thousands and thousands and thousands of people to pray, to cry, to roll on the ground and do all the weird stuff they do, right? But when it comes time to step up and to be real believers who will take back the city from the hands of the enemy, take back the city from these demonic people, there's no one. Like you find no one. You find no one. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, to me personally, right? When you read the Bible or the way I read the Bible, I don't think the Bible ever makes a coward out of a person, right? The Bible calls you to have righteous anger, right? So I'm like, if you read the Bible, you should be motivated to fight for your home, fight for your house, fight for your children, fight for your neighborhood, fight for what's right. Don't be afraid to die. Because if that's what it takes, that's what it is. Right? But everybody wants to be a Christian, but nobody wants to experience dying like Jesus. Make it make sense. Like that's crazy to me. That is so crazy to me. These churches are full of people. It's the same thing with New Orleans, right? New Orleans is like the #1 murder capital in the nation, like #2, right? But every time, if you ever go to New Orleans, every other street has a church, right? But I'm like, how can every other street have a church and there's so much murder in the city? There's so much blood being spilled in the city, right? How come these heathens, these demons, okay, these people and their weird spirits that are possessing them to kill other people, how come those people are not afraid of the believers in the city? How come they're not afraid of committing crimes next to a church, right? How come they're not afraid? Because I'm like, to me, that's the way I feel. I feel like an unbeliever should be scared of me, right? But the way things work out here, it's the Christians that are scared of unbelievers. Okay, it's the Christians who run when they see the unbelievers, because the unbelievers have more power, they have more money, they can whoop their behinds, they can shoot their behinds and get away with it, right? But I'm like, if Jesus, I'm like, think about this. If Jesus was alive today and he went to Haiti, for example, you think he'd be afraid of these gangsters, of these gang people? Absolutely not. He will curse them all with blindness. Okay, he will curse them all with a spirit of, going mute or going deaf. They will be blind. Okay, and they will probably turn on each other and start shooting each other. We'll be done with these people. Okay, if Prophet Elijah was alive, if Prophet Elisha was alive, and you saw all these murderers and all these killing people in New Orleans, right? He will curse them all. He will rebuke them all and curse them all. And before you know it, they would all have leprosy or some type of weird plague on their skin. They will never commit a crime again. Okay? Because that's what happens when you have the Holy Spirit with you. That's what happens when you have that fire of God in you, right? You are able to speak to things and they do happen because you have the power to take over the city. For the Bible says, what you bind in the heavens shall be bound on earth, and what you loosen in the heavens shall be loosened on earth, right? But it's like, no, you know what I'm saying? There's like, you don't see that, like, you don't see that powerful belief in the word of God. Like, no, we are here to conquer. We're not of the earth, but God has called us, right, to conquer this earth, right? We have to conquer this place. But today it's like we are being conquered. We are Christians, but we're being conquered by evil. We're being conquered by toxic culture. We are being conquered by all kinds of perversions. We are being conquered by criminals, right? And then good people are running because they're afraid. You have grandmothers who are running because they're afraid. You have children running because they're afraid, right? But meanwhile, we have all these churches, but there's nothing changing in the spiritual temperature of the city. There's nothing changing. There's nothing better happening. And I'm like, how is that okay? How's that okay? You have all these churches in New Orleans, and yet the murder rate is through the roof because these churches don't have a real impact on the culture of the city. And that to me is really sad. It's really sad, but I'm like, Christianity, the way they have taught Christianity to Black people, it has done something really weird to Black people. It really has. Hold on.
Who don't live in Black communities. The Black ghetto that you couldn't wait to get out of because of the poverty and the stress might be the safest place in Black America. I feel sorry for you, Black bourgeoisies. I feel sorry for you, Black bourgeoisies. I feel sorry for you, Black bourgeoisies. You spent all your money and all your time running away from Black people. What you gonna do? Being the only Black family in that all-white neighborhood. They just got us on a nice little warm. They warming us up right now. You're being warmed up. Wait till they start boiling that water. Wait until they toss your ass in that oven. They just getting us warmed up right now. And I'm telling you right now, all the serious Black people need to get together and start organizing. We can't save everybody. We can't save everybody. All the serious Black people need to get organized and get together. We need to get armed. We need to get our food together. We need to have an escape plan. We got to start having conferences. We are so politically irrelevant right now. I don't think we realize it. I don't think we realize it. It all started with Barack Obama. Not because of anything he did, but because of what you didn't do. You let the Obama presidency take you completely off the table of conversation because you was happy just to have a Black president. You was happy just to have a Black president. New Orleans, I don't know, because they'll just blow up the levees again, New Orleans. New Orleans, you have to go to Mississippi. New Orleans, you got to get to Jackson or somewhere. They'll just blow the levees up. I could be wrong, but I don't see New Orleans as a stand-your-ground city. It's too easy to flood us. You're below sea level. It's too easy for them to flood us out of New Orleans. From a military science perspective, it's too easy for them to flood us out of New Orleans. You know what else they're going to do if they go to war? You thought the Gulf War had too many black men in it? Wait till this war happens. When they do the military draft, they're going to try to send every black man they can overseas. I hope every black man has a passport. Brothers, get your passport. When they start recruiting, disappear into Africa. I'm going into the bush, brothers and sisters. I'm going into the bush. I'm going into the bushes of Nigeria. I'm going into the bushes of Ghana. I'm going into the wilderness of Kenya. I'm going into the mountains of the Congo. Y'all will see me when the war is over. Get your passport, black man. Pay off your...
Oh, y'all. So if y'all don't know this too, the House passed a bill to do mandatory draft, right? So let me look at this again. Let's look at that.
House just passed a bill for mandatory draft registration, and people are losing their minds. So this would automatically register men aged 18 to 26 for the draft. But guys, this is really nothing new. Military service in the US is voluntary, but most young men must register with the draft. And if you don't register for the draft, you can see up to fines of $250,000. So all this does is makes it where you automatically get registered. You don't have to fill out information in the mail and send it in. So if you want to be mad that we have a draft in general, that's fine. But being mad about this bill that's just making it easier for people so they don't see the fines, I don't understand that argument. But
You could possibly be automatically drafted now. You remember when you had to sign up for the draft? Well, not any longer. The House of Representatives, you know, the people that give hundreds of billions of dollars of our taxpayer money to fight wars around the world? Well, now they're automatically registering you. As soon as you turn 18, you, men, for the draft. When did the draft start? 1975. You know, when most of the House of Representatives who voted on this graduated college. Well, they're now voting for you to automatically get ready for a draft. Why? Do they want us to fight against Russia and China? Is it because we've been pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into wars and not into the United States and building ourselves up, but instead fight?
Will your sons automatically be registered for the military draft because of a new bill passed by the House? And what about your daughters? Right now, the answer is no. But there's a large part of this story that a lot of people are missing. Your 18 to 25-year-old sons are already required by federal law to register for the draft or face a felony or fine up to $250,000. That's been the law since the early 1900s. Now, it is true that last week the House did pass a bill about a new draft requirement for men, which I'm going to explain to you in just a second, as well as what's happening with young women. But first, let me be extremely clear. There is no draft for anyone. It's not happening. We haven't had a military draft in the United States in 50 years. And the only way there would be another draft is if both the House and the Senate pass a bill establishing a draft and the president signs it into law. Now, as I said, the requirement for young men between the ages of 18 and 25 for what is called selective service, the draft, has been around forever. It's not new. But in the House's new version of the National Defense Authorization Act, which passed largely with Republican votes, they updated the selective service regulation for all male U.S. citizens who are at least 18 years old but not yet 26. This House version simply makes registration for selective service for these Americans automatic instead of requiring each person to go and physically do it individually.
No, why not?
Lawmakers who support this change say it's necessary because oftentimes young men are unaware of the registration requirement, and then that can...
Okay. So somehow they want to make your registration automatic, but you shouldn't be afraid. Like, oh, we haven't. Y'all, they want to go to war. Yes, they want to go to war and they want to register your kids. I guess I have 3 sons, so hopefully I don't know. But my thing is, they want to go to war. And when they do go to war, what they're going to do, take a bunch of black kids, the black kids and the Latino kids, per usual, right? And those will be the children who will be on the front line. Meanwhile, most of the white boys will be in the offices. They'll be, how you call them? Like, they'll have leadership roles. They'll be very, very safe. But your black boys, your Latino boys, they will be on the front line getting murdered, okay? Getting murdered and getting slaughtered. Because in America, right, the lives of black people mean nothing. They absolutely mean nothing. You look at the U.S., Paul, you make no sense, Paul. You are crazy. You see, and that's the thing. You are really crazy, Paul. Nice to have you here, Paul. But my thing is, if you're gonna say something like the truth matters, you should be able to tell us what the truth is. If you can't even tell us what the truth is, Paul, then do you even know what the truth is, or you just want to share your perspective, right? The truth matters. What truth is it? I told you, tell us what it is. You don't have to tell us all, but tell us something. We're here to listen. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you, right? But it's like, to me, it's like when you say things like Trump is a madman. Trump could be a madman. What do I know? Most white men in America are madmen. So what do I know? But at the same time, too, though, when we have grown men with beards and dresses going into women's bathroom and self-identifying as women, I would also say that those people are also madmen. So madness out here, it's happened to a whole lot of white men across different arenas, right? But he's not the only one. He's not the only one. Right? In the rainbow community, there's a lot of mad people in there. Did someone win the election? What election? The recent election, like the 2020 election? Is that what you're talking about? Right? So for me, it's like, yeah, they're going to drive your children, okay, and try to murk the babies because they want to go to war with Russia. They want to go to war with China. They want to go to war with Iran. You don't need to automatically register anybody's son into your stupid draft, right? If someone wants to do it, they'll go through the trouble and they'll figure out a way to get it done. Nobody needs that. No one needs that. But you can't, like somebody said, you can't automatically register people to delete their student loans. You can't automatically register people, right, to be approved for a home loan and to get a mortgage. But you want to automatically register people's children to go die at war. These are 18-year-old kids. What do they know about fighting a war? Okay, you think, like, when you look at our 18-year-olds today, go on TikTok. You think these young people are adequate enough to go fight a war, to be enlisted in the military at 18? Today's 18-year-old is like a 12-year-old. These kids ain't that strong. Oh, Isaiah said, I think the Democrats are the problem, and I'm a mega supporter. Well, my thing is, I do hope we get to a place where people stop saying I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican, and actually people should be pro-American. Okay, because it's turning into some weird type of sports. And it's like, this is not sports, y'all. This is our livelihood. This is seriously our livelihood. Like, we all live here. Like, we all live here. You know what I mean? And you might like America. You might not like America too much sometimes, right? But it's like, we all live here. And if bad things happen, no matter what you are, Republican, Democrats, y'all, we all pay for the same price of eggs, right? We all pay the same price at the gas station. You understand? Democrat, Republican, whatever. Most of our children go to the same public schools. So it's like, we got to get to a place where we all behave as like pro-American. And it's like, what's in the best interest of America? You know what I mean? What's going to make America safer for all of us? Because if honestly, you really have 18 undocumented illegal immigrants out here, right? They could be anywhere. And if a huge portion of them are these vile criminals who kidnap people, who bind women and grape women under bridges, right? Dismember people, squat into people's homes, right? All of us, our safety is at risk because they could be anywhere at any time, at any moment. How do we even know who these people are? You know what I mean? How do you protect yourself from a threat you don't even know what it looks like or how to identify it? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is really crazy. This is seriously crazy. But we are not safe. We are truly not safe. We don't know who's coming here, where they're coming from, why they're coming here. If there are military people coming here, if there are people who are super talented at creating bombs who are coming here, anybody can go into our metro system and set up a bomb and kill millions of Americans just like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, this is real. This is real. The economy is real. Young people applying for jobs, 100 applications, 200 applications. Nobody's calling them back. You have young people who do like 5 interviews, right? And they get no call back. These companies are not hiring. So many young people are like depressed and completely, disparaged when it comes to like, oh, am I ever going to get a job? Am I ever going to have a career? When am I going to start saving money? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's really sad. It's really sad.
We better start growing our own food.
Hold on.
We better start growing our own food. Let me say this. If there's anybody watching this who's interested in coming to FDMG this summer, We got about 9 weeks of summer left. If there's anybody watching this who is a gardener and a farmer, I would like you to come to FDMG this summer and get our community garden started this summer. Who wants to come help us out? We cannot afford to pay you. This is volunteerism, but we have some grassland around the school. I need you to help us choose where the community garden should be, and I want you to help us plant some crops ASAP. ASAP. Where my gardeners at? Where my farmers at? Where my gardeners at? Where my farmers at? Come to FDMG, because FDMG is going to have to be an emergency shelter for Black America. I'm just going to keep it real. FDMG is going to have to be an emergency shelter for Black America. Wilmington, Delaware will be a stand your ground city. It's predominantly Black anyway. Wilmington, Delaware will be a stand your ground city. If you live in Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, or anywhere else in America, if you know how to grow food, please get in touch with me. I want to start our community garden this summer. Who coming out? Who coming out? I want to take a whole week and start planting all around FDMG. Who's coming out? Who's coming out? Let's start growing crops on campus right now. Let's start growing crops on campus right now. If you're serious, text my phone. We're going to have a Zoom, and then we're going to get busy. I want you to bring your seed, where we got to get the fertilizer, what tools we need from Home Depot. Is there a farmer's market to get everything we need? We are ready to start growing this summer. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. 215-989. I want the food already growing when the children start school next August. Not this August, next August. I already want the crops. We're going to take food to the elders. We're going to have our own farmers market right there on FDMG campus. Don't talk about it, be about it. Will the real institution builders please stand up? Black woman, if you serious about the revolution, if you serious about saving your people, don't date any Black man who ain't trying to build for Black people. Your boyfriend in law school, good, we need some lawyers, but what is he building for Black America? Your husband is an engineer, that's good, we need engineers, but what is he building for Black America? Black man, you have to revolutionize your romance. You shouldn't be dating no Black woman who's only concerned about weaves and pocketbooks. We ain't got time for that no more. Black man, you cannot afford to be dating Black women who only concerned about where you taking her for dinner. We ain't got time for that right now. If your queen ain't trying to build for the future, find you a real woman, because she not it. She not it. We can no longer sit around and fight with each other. We got to organize and build. Let's start the FDMG Farmers Market. Let's start the FDMG Garden this summer. Let's do it. Let's do it. Institution builders should only be dating institution builders. Institution builders should only be dating institution builders. Congressional Black Caucus is real quiet. Congressional Black Caucus is real quiet. Al Sharpton is real quiet. The Black church is real quiet. They have nothing for you, and they know the Democrats don't either. They have nothing for you, and they know the Democrats don't either. They have nothing for you, and they know the Democrats don't either. Brothers and sisters, this is your big brother, King Kong. Thanks to all my New Orleans family who came out last night. We're trying to finish up the school. We're going to try to finish painting this weekend as much as we can. If you want to help us paint Saturday and Sunday, you need to donate to the school and text me a screenshot. If you want to help us paint Saturday and Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, 11 to 7, Wilmington, Delaware. Come on out, bring the children if they're old enough to paint. We're going to try to paint and then do them floors. Once we paint and do them floors, we ready for the inspection. Once we paint and do them floors, we ready for the inspection, brothers and sisters. Don't talk about it, be about it. Will the real institution builders please stand up? I'm in New Orleans. Yes, you have to donate to come help paint. You donate to Louis Vuitton, I don't hear no complaints. You donate to Gucci, I don't hear no complaints. You donate to Nike, I don't hear no complaints. That's what's wrong with you Americanized Negroes. You don't have a problem. Oh, you ain't got no time for that. You ain't got no money. That's why we're going to go around snatching melanin. All summer long, I'm snatching melanin. I'm snatching your melanin. You don't want to be African? No problem. Give me your melanin and go join the pink people.
Oh my God.
You don't want to be African? No problem. Give me your...
How to be overemployed without burnout?
Dr. Umar, you are crazy. He can be a little crazy. He don't be. I love Dr. Umar, you guys. I swear. Yeah, he got some issues, but I do love him.
Snatching. If you donate $5, you're not coming to paint, because to me, that's not a respectable donation. I'm not going to tell you how much to donate, but if you're donating $5, we don't need you on paint day. Day after tomorrow. We don't need you.
Oh, Dr. Umar's so crazy.
Now, the queens told me not to shave my beard off. The Ifatunde queendom.
Okay. I think Dr. Umar is kind of done, you guys. I think he's kind of done. Dr. Umar is crazy. He said, dude, he's so stupid. He's really, really stupid. He's really stupid. Dr. Umar's stupid, y'all. But I do love him. Y'all, he's not all the way there. But he be saying the truth, though. Child, my thing with Dr. Umar, don't wait for him to build the school, because I think he spent all the money. I don't think he's good with money. I told you, I don't think he's good with managing money. I think he's good at, he's great at speaking. He has great ideas. He's, I love the way he expresses himself. But when it comes to actually doing work, anything that involves money, don't trust him with money now. He doesn't have the skill set to manage money and to bring a huge project like building a school that actually involves young people in their future. Yeah, he doesn't have what it takes. I would not send my kids to his school. He had a little panel, yes, but to actually his school, no. Oh, heck no. Absolutely not. Okay. He doesn't have what it takes, though, But you guys, honestly, we must pray. We must truly pray. We must pray for Black America. We must really, really pray, because it's not looking good. It really is not looking good. And like I said, I do feel like moving in the future, like the way we're going in the future, right? Diversity now is not just Black people. Diversity is pretty much everything, right? Diversity today is they have their favorite term, people of color, BPOC, whatever that term is. They have, sexuality also, sexuality, sexual orientation, sexual identity is also part of diversity. Diversity now is it's polymorphic. It means so many things now, you know what I'm saying? And I do feel like one of the reasons why they want diversity to mean so many things and to be so many things and to be so polymorphic is so that way they really don't have to do anything specific for Black people. Because you're like, well, that's diversity. You know what I'm saying? Because today everything is diversity. You know what I mean? Whereas diversity before, it really meant, it truly meant doing something specific for the betterment and the advancement of Black people, right? Today, diversity is everything. It's everyone. It's all people, right? You understand? If you hire a white person that is trans, that's diversity. You know what I'm trying to say? It's okay, as if they were not trans, they wouldn't have gotten hired. Okay? It's diversity, right? If you hire someone who's Indian, you've hired a brown person. Boom, diversity. Okay? Everything today is diversity. You know what I'm saying? And and to me, it's a way to cut into curtail your I don't know, your rights or what you're entitled to. But I feel like diversity today is for the streets. It really is for the streets. It belongs to everybody. And so that's why when I see things like diversity, equity, and inclusion, I can see how some people would think oh, this is specifically to help and to promote Black people. But I'm telling you, give it 3 years, give it 5 years, right? And you'll see that diversity, it was never for you. But they use your Blackness, though, right? Because they know you know how to be a militant, you know how to be, you know how to protest, you know how to get something going, you know how to get something done. So they're going to use you to get it done. But once it's done, you will have nothing to do with it. You will no longer eat from the tree. You will no longer have access to anything. You won't be able to reap from what you've sown, because it was never meant for you to have anything. But because they know you know how to get things done, they'll use you. And I've gotten to a place I'm like, no, I don't want to be used no more. I'm tired. Okay, if you know what you want to do, go ahead and do it. Stop pretending that you have all these programs and all these hashtags and all these movements because you want to put Black people first. You do not. You truly, truly, truly do not. Right. And I promise you, even like, let's say there's a war and they draft all these young people. Like I said, it's going to be Black children and Latino children on the front lines. Right. And the white kids will be safely nested in the back. Okay. And then the colonels, the generals, the whatever, it's going to be a bunch of white men who identify as trans women and who wear heels in the military. Because that's why they're doing all this gender pronoun, etc. I'm like, it's going to be a bunch of mess. It's going to be a bunch of mess. And it's going to be, once again, a bunch of Black people dying. And when they come back from war, they're going to have to get regular jobs. They're going to have to go to the VA office, beg for benefits, beg for a new leg, beg for medication, beg for transportation, beg for housing. You see how America treats its veterans, okay? You see it. And most Black veterans, they have it worse. They have it worse, okay? They have, oh, child, I already see the movie. Okay, they're going to have queer generals. They're going to have queer colonels, right, who do nothing but sit there and talk about their pronouns and their diversity, whatever. Meanwhile, it's going to be Black children fighting China, Black children fighting the Russians, Black children fighting in Ukraine. Wars that have absolutely nothing to do with you, right? Because they don't really care about Black people. They want you to die one way or another. They're going to find something to kill you. If it's not drug addiction, they're going to put you in a sex addiction. If it's not sex addiction, they're going to enlist you in the military and get you killed by putting you behind in the front line, right? Or they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way. You know? Do we think, I don't know. I don't think Biden is winning. I think the debate, the way it went yesterday, I think people really got to see that the man is not all the way there. I told y'all he wasn't all the way there. I told y'all, I said this right here is elder abuse. I've told y'all this before. I'm like, he's not all the way there. And the fact that I don't even like Joe Biden, and I really felt bad for him yesterday. I'm like, nobody should see him like this. And I'm like, his wife is not protecting him. His son is not protecting him. You know, I'm like, nobody should see this man like this. You know, and that's how you see, like, for me, that's my personal point of view. This is how you know, for me, that's how I know that the Democratic Party, the DNC, them people, they're not serious people. Because in private, they know Biden's not doing well. They've known he has not been doing well, right? This man is in the 80s talking about, oh, he sees dead people. He's calling out dead presidents, et cetera, et cetera. You guys know he's not okay, right? Like smart people, intelligent people, for as much as they say, oh, democracy is at stake, democracy is at stake. If them people were really serious about democracy 2 years ago, or at least like last summer, they would have had a serious conversation with Joe. They would have had a serious conversation with Jill. Like, listen, we really are fighting for democracy here, right? Joe, you've done a great job. You served for 4 years, right? It's time for you now to go to Delaware, go be with your family, go be with your children. You've been through a lot. You lost your wife. You lost your daughter. Bodie is dead. You understand? Like, you don't even know how much time you have left. Go home to Delaware. They already sent the dog up there because he was biting everyone at the White House, right? Why you don't want to retire? You've served for 50 years. You've experienced power for 50 years. You guys, Joe Biden has been in politics for 50 years. You need 4 more years. You're not tired. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, if this was Africa, like, oh, this is a banana republic. These Africans are obsessed with power. You see, when white people do the same crap as these power-hungry African despot, right? They don't see how they're a bunch of hypocrites, right? But I'm like, honest people would have had a peaceful and honest conversation with Joe Biden. Do the 4 years, right? But then, like, towards like half of your term or the last year of your term, you're going to tell America that you're stepping aside for health reasons, et cetera, and you endorse another candidate, right? Let that person go compete against Donald Trump. You know what I'm trying to say? That makes no sense. I'm like, I don't get this. We have 300 million people in this country. You're telling me that for the Democratic Party, no one can do the job but Joe Biden? Like, come on. Like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. If you really cared about democracy, if you felt like Trump was such a threat to democracy, right? This should have been sorted out. They should have sorted this out. Because right now, even now, who wants to join? Like, let's say Biden says, okay, fine, I'll step aside so somebody else can replace me. Who wants to replace him? Who wants to have, what are we? We're in June, right? June, well, it's almost over. So July, August, September, October. in 4 months. Who wants to plan a campaign in 4 months? That's not serious business. I would be like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, you know, like at least if you had decided that if he had known, if they had told him like, yo, you're going to have to step down because you're getting too old. Okay. And we don't want to risk it. Right. So like 2022, had they made that decision as a party with Joe Biden, right? Somebody else could have had at least 2 years to properly get ready to compete against Trump. You can't, who wants to run a campaign in 4 months? 4 months? Like, campaigning is exhausting, and you have to plan. You got to have a mission statement, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you got to go, it's a lot. You don't decide that 4 months before the election. You are very unserious people. You know what I'm saying? This they are seriously unserious people. They have seen sign of his mental ability going down the drain. They know he's not okay. They know more than you think. What we saw was bad. Imagine what happens out there, back there, the White House or at Camp David. Okay, they've known this man is impaired. They've known this. And do you even want to run the risk of him dying? Like, what happens if he dies tomorrow? Like, it's sad. I'm like, this is elder abuse. Like, it's not okay to do this to a person, right? But I'm like, Joe, you've had 50 years of power. You were a senator for like almost 30 years. You were vice president for 8 years. You got to be president for 4 years. Are you not tired of power? He's like Hillary Clinton. You're not tired? You want more power? But yet somehow Trump is the problem. Trump is the one who can't lose. Like, come on, be so for real. Be so for real. Like, no, you're insane. He said, oh, he didn't want to become president. They forced him to do it. He wanted to become president. If you study Joe Biden, he tried to run for office like 30 years ago. Joe Biden, but I'm telling you, if you study him, he's a loser. He's another mediocre, average ass white man. Okay? He's mediocre. I think he's probably the only president who didn't even go to an Ivy League. Okay, because Trump went to Pennsylvania. Okay, he is mediocre. Law school. He was plagiarizing, cheating his way through law school. The man is mediocre. It is not a joke. I'm not saying it to be funny. He's been mediocre. He had to be with Obama to have access to the White House, right? And then to get the black vote, he had to go bring Kamala Harris to be his vice president. It's like by himself, he doesn't motivate people. By himself, he does not energize people. By himself, he has no charisma. You know what I mean? He has nobody's inspired by him. The only reason why even most people want to vote for him is because they don't like Trump. Imagine how sad that is. People don't even believe in you. They're just voting for you out of spite for Trump. Like, you're a freaking loser. And he knows he's a loser, just like his son Hunter. He's a loser. This is not a man who knows how to compete. It's not a man who knows how to win. It's not a man who knows how to convince people, right? Like, it's sad. Like, every time for him to have anything, he needs black people to hold his hand. Like, how embarrassing is that? Where the freak is your white privilege? Okay? It's always black people making a way for this white man. He is mediocre. He is so mediocre. He is so mediocre. I'm like, you by yourself. What have you built for yourself by yourself? Okay? I'm like, I think he's the only American president, as far as I know, like, you know, from the time the Ivy became a thing, who has not gone to an Ivy. He went to a mediocre ass law school and he was still cheating. Can you imagine? You go to a mediocre law school and you cheat? Oh my gosh. Like, you can't be for real. You cannot be for real. They asked Michelle Obama if she would endorse Joe Biden. Child, she couldn't even say it. She's like, because she hates his guts. Nobody forced him. He wants power. He wanted to be president. He just said he could never get it. He could never get the nomination. So now what we have to ask ourselves is, why did Obama pick him? That's the real question I want to know. What kind of deal did Obama make with the Democratic Party that he was forced to take Joe Biden as his VP in order to get the nomination from the DNC? What kind of deal did Obama make with these people? Now I want to know, because this is very bizarre. Because he's mediocre. He is seriously dumb. He's an idiot. Sorry, little baby. Okay? He's seriously mediocre. Like, he's always wanted to be president. He just couldn't make it because he doesn't have what it takes. You know? And even before he was with Obama, like nobody really talked about him. Like when it came to like the senators that you always knew, like Nancy Pelosi, yeah, her name was always outside, right? Ted Kennedy, you know, he was very famous. So like think about all the Democratic senators that you've known throughout your life. Like nobody really talked about Joe Biden like that. Right? When it came to like the Democratic Party and like the charismatic leaders as far as senators were concerned, it was always like Ted Kennedy. Like he was huge. Like people had lots of respect for him, right? He endorsed Obama. He was like the godfather of the party, right? But it's like Joe Biden. I'm like, who is this guy again? I don't know nothing about you. Then you look him up, come to find out he's the author, creator, pusher of the crime bill. Like, oh, okay, here we go. But I'm like, I would really want to know what kind of deal Obama made with the DNC. Where they were like, okay, fine. For us to let you be our, you know, what's it called? Have the nomination, you got to put this man on your ticket as your VP. Because what qualifications does he even have to be anybody's VP? Ask yourself that. What did he do for Obama? Like, what did he do? What did he add? Right? But I'm like, child, please. It is so sad. Yeah, he's freaking evil. He is diabolical, you guys. Like, you really have to do your... Because, you know, I had a friend and we were talking about it. And I said to her, I'd rather you go and do your own research and find what you find. Because I don't want to be like, oh, Marlene told me. No. There is nothing like finding stuff out for yourself. Because once you go and you look stuff out and you find stuff out for yourself, you will forever have that for you, right? But I'm like, people really need to study this man. You know, but he's seriously mediocre. And I would not be lying to you. He is seriously mediocre. All his life, he's been a bum. All his life, he's been a failure. You know what I'm saying? All his life, he's been a failure. So ask yourself that. But I do believe the reason why, this is what I think, because I told my friend that. I was like, I do believe one of the reasons why Black America, like at large, does not want to see Biden for who he truly is, because they feel as though if he was friends with Obama, if he worked with Obama, is good for me, right? Because, you know, a lot of Black people see Obama as like the second coming of Christ. Okay, you have, you know, because a lot of Black people, the way they live their life is through skin color, right? So a lot of Black people, when they look at Barack Obama, they think they're safe. Right? They probably let him come into their house. They probably let Barack Obama watch their kids. They probably leave their social security number around Obama, right? Because they look at skin color and they assume, oh, if I'm Black and you're Black, we're family, right? If I'm Black and you're Black, I'm safe with you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of Black people don't understand that skin color means nothing. What you need to know is a person's character, right? But when it comes to Barack Obama, people just see his color and they say, oh my gosh, he's Black. He's Black, so he cares about Black people. Oh my gosh, he's Black, right? But then it's like, you take a step back. You're like, hold up. If this man was really Black like that, if he was really about Black people, I don't know about these policies, though. I sure don't know. You know, but it's like, that's where a lot of Black people are. They look at skin color and they assume if we have the same skin color, I'm safe with you. My kids are safe with you. My money's safe with you. My life is safe with you. My vote is safe with you, because they don't think to ask themselves, like, do we have the same mindset? You know what I mean? Do we have the same psychology? Like, do we really want the same things, right? And I've come to realize they got to be very careful. You got to be very careful. And that's what people say, all color folk is not kinfolk. Like, you need to really make sure. And it takes time to get to know a person, right? It takes time. But me, Marlene, I've looked at Barack Obama sideways for a very long time. You know what I mean? I've looked at him sideways for a very long time. And if I told you the things I think about him, you'd probably be like, Marlene, cha. I looked at him sideways for a very long time. And what really triggered me, I know it sounds really petty, right? But what really triggered me with Barack is when he asked for Abraham Lincoln's Bible. You know, when he was sworn into office, he wanted to swear on Abraham Lincoln's Bible. And I'm like, why would you want Abraham Lincoln Bible? You know, because when he was selling himself to Black America, he was like, oh, Dr. King was 45 or 44 years old, and he's going to be the 44th president or the whatever he was saying, right? I was like, okay, that's kind of cute, whatever, right? Everybody uses Dr. King's name. Everybody always uses Dr. King's name, right? Shusha, stop. Okay. But then when it came time for him to be sworn in, he was like, oh, he wants what's that man's name? He wants Abraham Lincoln's Bible. I said, oh my gosh, Abraham Lincoln's Bible. If you don't know this, I don't like Abraham Lincoln also. He's an Aquarius, but I don't like him because I feel like he took advantage of Black people. You know, because I'm like, when you look at the Emancipation Proclamation, it is nothing more than an executive order. It doesn't create the pathway into citizenship, right? So I'm like, when he created that order to free the slaves, whatever, it was only for them. First, it was to make the South weak because he knew they needed slaves to make money. Number two, he was looking for more people to join his military, right? But when you see how he treated those Black people and the fact that they really gained nothing from it, and actually their lives got worse after the war, yeah, you're an asshole. You are really an asshole. So me personally, I don't like Abraham Lincoln. Do not like him. He's not a real abolitionist. Like when you look at John Quincy Adams and you look at John Quincy Adams Jr., like, okay, yeah, those people, like, they're really like slave abolitionists because they inherently believe that slavery was wrong and they were not trying to gain anything from Black people, right? But it's like Abraham Lincoln, there's a reason why he frees those people. And it's not because he believes that slavery is wrong. No, he wants to be powerful. I'm like, you're sick. You don't get to use people like this. You're insane. Sounds like you're weird. So me and I don't really like Barack Obama. Let me put it that way. I really don't. And then like when it came to Biden and the stuff I discovered about Biden too, I was like, it's really weird to me that somebody who went to Harvard Law School, right, who was president of the Harvard Law Review, who majored in constitutional law, right? You cannot tell me, and somebody who can memorize 3-4 pages of speeches, like Obama has a great memory, okay? And no way, you never read the crime bill. There is no way Obama never read this crime bill. And not just that, there's no way Michelle also did not read it. I'm like, both of you heifers, you read it because you're both lawyers. You read this document. When they told you, oh, this is the man who's going to be your VP, I'm sure you did your research on him. And even before that, as a senator, I'm sure you read the crime bill before. You know what's in there. You know what I'm saying? And like, you read that stuff and you were like, yeah, it's cool. No. That's weird to me. That's really weird. And then this man is your VP. And I'm like, 8 years in office, y'all don't even try to do something to rectify the harm of the crime bill. Like, you know, because one could say, oh, it was like in the 90s. We thought we were doing what was best. Sure, whatever, right? But fine. Now that you know better, how are you going to make this better? They did absolutely nothing to kind of like curtail the destructiveness of the crime bill. You know, can't even legalize marijuana, like do something. Like, no, you understand? So I'm like, no, something is off with these people. Something is off with these people. Something is seriously off with these people. But the problem is because Barack Obama, he has Black skin, I guess, right? People don't hold this man to task. Like, people don't hold him to task, and people don't go back on his administration, on his time in office and say, okay, what did you really do for Black people? Because what did he really do? Right? I'm like, Sandra Bland got murked when he was president, right? Mike, what's his name? Mike, the young man. His name was Mike something, right? He got murked when Obama was president. What's the boy's name? Trayvon Martin got murked when Obama was president, right? There was a lot of police brutality out here, right? And there was no pressure. Nobody applied pressure on Obama the way they applied pressure on Trump because Obama's Black. Obama's Black. Right? But Sandra Bland, she got stopped at a stop sign for a stop violation. She wouldn't turn off her cigarette. Next thing you know, the man arrests her. Next thing you know, 24 hours later, she dead. Okay? She's dead. Hello? Right? Trayvon, all that stuff, right? And then not just that, Obama president, Eric Holder is a Black. He's the attorney general. Nothing happened. He couldn't even bring himself to say the word racism. I'm like, why you can't say racism? What's your problem? You know what I'm saying? But because he's Black, he's not being held to task the way like a Trump would, right? Because Trump, nobody likes him already. So if there's any type of police issue, Trump has to do the very, very most. But Obama, who's Black, he did the very, very least. And people just glanced over that because he had a party at the White House with Usher, Beyonce, Jay-Z, LeBron James, and they ate watermelons and they were playing, they were bowling and they had like they were skating, whatever, right? People glossed right over that. Right? You don't have the same pressure. You don't have the same pressure for him. But I'm like, you as a Black person, you of all people, right? So I'm like, no. Some don't make sense. But yeah, politics is a very dirty game. You know, it's very dirty. And I will say, like, one thing I have come to recognize too, like when it comes to when it comes to politicians too, right? Some of the most wicked politicians are the people that people like the most, because they understand. Because I'm like, with politics, right? It's not really what you're gonna do. It's not who you are. It's what you can make people believe about you. You understand? And so it's like when you look at someone like Barack Obama, the fact that he's very handsome, he has a lot of swag, dresses really nice and stuff. Like Obama is smooth. Like he is very, very smooth. Okay. It's giving Tony the Tiger. Okay. Obama's a very smooth cat. Like he's super, super smooth, right? So it's like a man like that, he can really deceive you because he's so smooth. Like it's giving Bill Clinton too. Bill Clinton, I never would have thought that Bill Clinton could have been a racist. You know what I'm saying? Because like growing up, the way Bill Clinton would carry himself, playing the saxophone, going to black churches and things like that, you would think like, oh yeah, Bill Clinton is a good person, right? It's not until Obama competes with his wife that you start to see a side of him that you had never seen before, right? So I was like, oh wow, this is crazy, right? But I'm like, I guess it's not even just politics, like it's life in general, right? If you have a business, if you're in politics, whatever, but if you can really work on your image and like become a character that people believe in, you can sell people anything, right? Because people believe in the image. They buy the image, right? And I think like that's the thing with Barack Obama is that people bought into the image of Barack Obama, especially on top of Barack. He has a black wife, et cetera, so people really bought into his image and nobody actually took the time to know this man. Like, what's his politics? What are his policies? You know what I'm saying? What is he trying to advance for black people? How is he trying to make things better? How is he trying to close the wealth gap between black people? What is he going to do about prison reform, right? There was none of that because all he had to do was be there, be smooth and things like that. And people are like, okay, that's fine, right? But most of his policies were geared towards like same-sex marriage, bailing out the banks, but he did very little for the black community. Even on his last term, and he had to do all these pardons, right? He didn't really pardon people like that, But it's nobody cares because he's black. That's fine, right? But like when it comes to Trump, it's like, oh, let's be extra. Like, so let's have like this like layers and layers of scrutiny. But I'm like, apply the same thing to Barack also. Don't let his skin color fool you, right? If it's good for one, it's good for the other. Be fair with everybody. Like if you're gonna do this to one person, do it to the other person. But I do feel like because Joe Biden was with Obama for 8 years, I think people see like, okay, if Obama, sanctified this man, if Obama baptized this man, then I guess he's good enough. I guess he's innocuous. I guess he's pro-black. I guess he supports black people, right? Because I think that's most people's mindset, right? It's like they judge people based on who did Obama like. So if Barack likes you, then I like you too. If Barack didn't like you, then I won't like you. But I'm like, you don't even know who this man is. You don't know who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, look how quickly, when he was trying to come up in the black circle, he was going to this one black church, right? But as soon as it became a problem for him with white people, he disowned the black pastor. He's like, oh, he's so hateful. I'm like, child, shut up. The whole time you went to his church, is that not how he was preaching? Right? But that's because he's trying to be elected by people in Chicago. Wumpty wump 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 wump. But now when you get to the national stage, right, and they talk about this black pastor, oh yeah, that's so true. He's so hateful. I'm like, boy, shut up. Okay? Because I listen to the black pastor and I'm like, yeah, I understand where he's coming from. He grew up in a different type of America. Right? So it's not so much that he's hateful, but my thing is, if you black in America and you grew up in an age where all you've ever seen was evil crap from white people, why would you like white people? Why would you like them? And I'm like, that's what you should do is like explain to white people, like, yeah, when you listen to him, okay, I'm like, when you listen to this pastor, yeah, it sounds extreme and it sounds hateful, but you have to understand, right? He's speaking based on what he's experienced. It's the same thing with Minister Farrakhan, right? If you're a white person and you listen to Minister Farrakhan, you could feel like he hates white people. But at the same time, too, though, step off your little privileged pedestal and ask yourself, why does he feel this way? Because Minister Farrakhan, when he grew up in America, he saw white people do nothing but evil stuff to black people. So he doesn't owe white people to be nice to them. I like it. Like, it always gets to me, like, when so many white people want to act so surprised, like, oh my gosh, why don't you like white people? Oh my gosh, why is he so mean to white people? Because he does not know kindness from white people. You know what I mean? Like if you've never seen good things come out of white people, why would you ever want to be nice to white people or have nice things to say about white people? You've never seen kindness from white people. And that's the same thing that Maya Angelou said. Maya Angelou's like, yo, growing up, I never knew white people to be kind. You know what I'm saying? There are black people who've lived in America, and all they've ever known from white people was violence. So they don't have a cozy memory or like cozy feelings of white folks. They know them as evil people. And so that's how they feel. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the world does not revolve around you. Ciao. Let me tell you something. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. And I was like, yo, that's real. You see, here it is. Hold on. Let me see if I can play this one. Hold on. Because I'm like, it's real. You know, based on when you were born, you might not have nice.
Why do white folks, how could they and why would they hate somebody like your grandmother? Why would they hate black people?
Because they're frightened.
Why? You didn't have guns.
I know, but people are afraid, for one thing, that basically people are afraid to die. So they clutch to something which they think will preserve their lives. So they try to guarantee happiness to themselves by shunting dirt and misery off on someone else. People feel if I can keep them out of this building, them off this street, them out of this employment line, I'll live a little longer. They don't think it consciously, but that is fundamental. People are afraid to be pried loose from their ignorance because they know their ignorance so well. They know it better than they know their body odors. And if you say, come on, give up your ignorance, they get into that terrible position, terrifying. They'd rather bear the ills they have than fly to others that they know not of. Thus conscience doth make cowards of us all. So they.
Well, let me see if I can find the video. She was like, I never knew. Hold on. I have to find that for you. But she was like, I never knew kindness from white people. And like, when she said that, I was so shocked. I was like, wow, let me see. Maybe this one. Hold on.
Enter a prompt
I
here.
was like, wow. But I'm like, but it's real though.
Okay, it can't be that hard.
It's real.
You know, Arkansas. You surely didn't know all that. What did you think of black and white at the time? What did you think of white folks as a
I
young
didn't think they were real. I didn't think they were real people.
Really?
I thought they were white folks.
What?
I thought they were white folks.
Well, I mean, what do you mean? You didn't think they're real? You don't think they had arms and legs?
Oh, no, they had arms and legs, but they didn't have innards like other people. I thought if you put your hand on a white person, it would go right through.
No.
I promise you.
Wow.
They were white folks. We were people.
You were that distant from them? I mean,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, you lived scarcely 300 yards apart in some respects.
Oh, and my grandmother owned the land most of them lived on.
Mm-hmm.
Is there the slightest possibility the white folks, myself, can truly understand the black experience?
Oh, I think to the degree that it's necessary to understand.
Well, you once said that black folks should play white folks in plays and what, because you've been studying white folks for hundreds of years.
Yes.
But that the white folks don't understand, you know.
Very seldom have had to. You see, it's like the Cockneys in Britain, in England in particular. The aristocrats and the upper class and the upper middle class controlled so much of life that the Cockney developed a way of watching that person and can imitate him to a fine degree. One has only to see the current, look at Finney or some of the current English actors who can imitate the upper class and upper middle class to a degree so finely honed that they can put it over. For blacks in this country, for centuries, the wave of a white woman's hand might reveal that she is getting ready to sell one's children.
Ooh.
Or a frown on a white man's face could mean in a moment you're about to be flogged.
Ooh.
So people learn to watch.
Hold on, let me see. Why did they cut the interview like this?
And I'm just on this thing 2 or 3 times. I guess I did weep.
How does that poem go?
Good woman feeling bad. The blues may be the life you've led, or midnight hours in an empty bed, but persecuting blues I've known could stalk like tigers and break like bone, pinned like rope in a gallows tree, make me curse my pedigree. Bitterness thick on a rankling tongue, psalms to love left unsung, rivers heading north but ending south, funeral music and a going home mouth. All riddles are blues, and all blues are sad. And I'm just talking about some blues I've had.
Oh, that's a full video.
What were you like as a very young child when all of us are truly formed?
Well, I was sent to Arkansas from California when I was 3, to a tiny, tiny town.
Named?
Stamps, Arkansas.
Stamps as in mail?
As in mail, aptly named. It was about that big, of the size of a 3-cent postage stamp. All small towns are provincial. I lived there from the time I was 3 until I was 13. And as long as I lived there, I was called by the black people Mrs. Henderson's California granddaughter. So I did not belong.
What did you look like? What kind of kid were you?
Well, my eyes have a slant to them. And the black kids told me that my daddy was a Chinaman. And they used to tease me. So I didn't know anything about that. So I thought they meant that he was made out of China, like a cup or a plate or something. It was a terrible thing to say to somebody unknowing. But I had no mother and father. And
wait a minute. Who was taking care of you?
My grandmother.
Your mother and father sent you to your grandmother?
Yes, that's right, from California. They had separated when I was 3. My grandmother owned the only...
I have to look for it. I'll lose it later. But there's a clip where she was like, growing up, she never knew white people to be kind. Hold on. And I was like, that really shocked me, because if you get the book, I know why Cage Bird sings, right? She calls them, like, she has names for them. But my point is, you kind of have to understand that, like, there are a lot of black people who never knew any type of kindness, gentleness, niceties from any white person. So for them, when they look at white people, they see evil beings. You know what I mean? They see evil beings. And so if you think someone is evil based on how they treated you historically, you're not going to have, nice things to say about them. And I think a lot of white people need to understand that, right? Nobody owes you to make you feel comfortable. Like, nobody owes you that, because people have the right to speak their truth. And if their truth in your hands has been awful, they have the right to say, like, you've been awful to me and you've abused me, right? So Obama goes on to denounce the pastor, right? And I'm like, here we go, right? But when you needed this man, you had no problems going to his church. Like when I was young, about, Minister Farrakhan is so hateful. Minister Farrakhan is so hateful. But it's like, if you properly listen to Minister Farrakhan, he doesn't say hateful things. He's never said, go grab a white person and do something to that white person, or go get revenge on a white person. No, but he talks about his experience, like the stuff he's been through. Right. But I'm like, if you were a black child and you grew up and you saw people getting lynched, if you witnessed a lynching, if you saw bodies hanging on trees, like how exactly are you supposed to feel about white people? You know what I'm saying? Are you really supposed to say nice thing about them? I'm like, how? To say nice things about the person also has to be nice. You have to see people be nice to you. But if all you experience at the hands of someone is torture, disrespect, abuse, murder, things like that, you're not going to grow up and be like, oh yeah, these are fine fellows right there. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I want to be just like him. So I'm like, no. So then I got older. I started listening more and more to Minister Farrakhan. I'm like, no, he doesn't say anything crazy. He makes a lot of sense. But it's so much easier for white society to say, oh, he's hateful, he's this, he's that. No, he's not. He tells you exactly what you've done to him. And that's the America that he grew up in. And that's the kind of experience he had at the hands of white people. You're very hateful. and you've lynched his people if you've never apologized. So he doesn't owe you anything. Doesn't owe you anything. But Maya Angelou is crazy. She's lit, you know, but I've never seen this one, but I watched this one. But she's like, yeah, I've never known kindness from them. So I do think like people should do their own research on people, right? People should do their own research on people and read their policy and read what they say and read what they stand for. But do not think that, oh, because Obama endorsed someone or because Obama worked with someone, the person is good. We don't know why he did that. We probably will know one day. We probably will never know. But we don't know what led Obama to make the deal with the DNC to say, okay, for you to be the first Black president or to be the first Black nominee, you got to put this man on your ticket. We have no idea. We have no idea, you know. But me, I don't trust the man. I don't trust him. Don't trust him at all. So that's it, you guys. But let us pray. Let's pray for this nation. Okay, November 4th, it gets real. So I think they're doing another debate. They're doing another one September. That's if Biden wants to come. But they're supposed to do another one in September. And that one is going to be on ABC. So we'll see. But they're saying like maybe Hillary Clinton will come in and step in for him, or maybe Michelle Obama will step in for Biden, or like Newsom will step in. Newsom, absolutely not. He's a terrorist. He's a real terrorist. He has destroyed California. So I'm like, no, he's insane. Michelle Obama, I don't think she cares about politics. I think she hates politics. So I don't see her doing this. Because if she wanted to, she would have stepped in a lot sooner. I don't think she's interested. Hillary, who knows? We shall see. But they had a spokesperson for Joe Biden today that made a statement, and they were saying that he's not stepping down. So I guess he wants to do it. So we shall see, you guys. We shall see. In the meantime, let's pray for the economy. Let's pray for our safety. Let's pray for all the people who live at the borders and all these young people, all these young girls. Please be careful. The one girl who was taken, there was a young lady who was murdered recently by 2 illegal immigrants. And they tied her behind a bridge and they proceeded to grape her. And then they chopped her up and dumped her body somewhere. I think she was running away, right? So young people, be very careful, okay? Stay your behind at home. Be very careful. Stay off your phones, okay? When you're outside, actually pay attention. Don't be talking on your phone and walking because you just never know. People are crazy. People are seriously crazy. And we're like, America is no longer safe. It is no longer safe. So July 4th, be careful. July 4th weekend, be careful. You just never know. You just never know. Because until the election, anything can pop off. So I'm like, yo, people got to be careful. Everybody has to be careful. So that's it, you guys. I just came to say hi to y'all and watch my little video with Dr. Umar. My son has turned me into a human pacifier. If I don't hold him, it's a problem. So he's so cute, though. He's really cute. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want, you can watch this one by Dr. Angelou. Okay. Here's the channel, a real Black one. Okay. If you care to see the end of it. All right. But thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Maybe tomorrow, I'll try to come outside tomorrow. Something happened in Nigeria with this wedding. Got to keep y'all posted. So hopefully I'll try to come outside tomorrow if this baby lets me. Child, I've turned into a slave. Oh my gosh. I thought once I would have the baby, I'd be a bit more free, but no, child, it's actually, I had more freedom when I was pregnant. It's like, he's asleep, but he has to suck on something. I've been trying the pacifier, but he doesn't want the pacifier. He wants my actual boob. That's crazy. This is madness. This is crazy, y'all. But I love y'all, okay? So enjoy your Friday. No, it was Shannon. David and Juma like, oh, child. But Shannon, child, they're saying Shannon's husband, he's on his fourth marriage. So Shannon is wife number 4. So he's had 3 divorces. His last divorce was finalized last year. So I'm like, then how do you know you're ready to be a husband? That's crazy. Like, that's your 4th wife? You're not even 50? How do you have 4 marriages and you're less than 50? Y'all, this is weird. It is very bizarre. And I'm like, I hope he's not a scammer. I hope he's not a terrorist. I hope he's not a narc. Because that's a lot of divorces for one person. The man's not even 50. They're saying he's 50, but I'm like, okay. So let's say you started being like, okay, you got like your first marriage, you were 20, right? So that's 30 years. So you have 4 marriages in less than 30 years. How does that work? Shannon Oja, like she's a famous Nollywood actress. She got married yesterday or like the day before yesterday. If you watch Nollywood movies, you've seen her. Let me show you real quick. Hold on. Here she is. Okay. Here she is. It really sounds like Portia and Simon because Portia is wife number 5. Okay. So here is the husband. So they're saying that this guy right here, yeah, we got this tomorrow because this baby's about to start crying. Okay. So they're saying this man right here, he's on wife. So she's wife number 4. You know, so they met and with 2.5 months, they were already engaged. So they got engaged in less than 3 months. And I'm like, this is bizarre. This is bizarre. Because I'm like, if you have so many divorces, a man like him with that many divorces, I'm like, you would think he would take his time before he gets remarried. So they're saying the ink on the last divorce dried up in 2023. He meets Shannon, and then 2.5 months they get engaged. So I guess they've known each other less than 6 months. They're already married, right? But I'm like, how do we know he's not a scammer? How do we know? Child. But we got to talk about that one tomorrow because I got to go, y'all. But yeah, so that's what's happening. So if you go on this blog, hold on, let me see if I can find a blog for you quickly. Oh my goodness, this little baby. Okay, so if you go on this blog, which is Instablog Nija, okay. All right, so here is the blogger who put it out. This one right here. Okay, so she's apologizing for putting it out there, but this is what she wrote initially, right? This is what she wrote initially. Okay, so she said actress Sharon Oja marries Imo State billionaire Chief Ugo Nukwe as his 4th wife. Nollywood actress Sharon Oja on Thursday, June 27, 2024, traditionally married handsome billionaire Chief Ugo Nukwe, who hails from Wamama Uru East, okay, in Imo State, and is tagged a man with a kindness heart. So Chief Nukwe, who is whispered to be in his early 50s, has been married 3 times, but it did not work out, and he's trying for the 4th time with Sharon. He was married to a white woman and 2 black women. His 3rd marriage, which ended in 2023, produced 3 sons. Chief Nukwe is a billionaire in every sense of the word, and we wish him a lifetime of happiness with Sharon. You've never seen Sharon before? Yeah, she's quite popular, actually. Hold on. So she's wife number 4. I'm like, this is pure madness. Okay. And then they had a picture. Hold on. They had a picture of the ex-wife, and the ex-wife is actually really pretty. I don't know where that. Oh, I think it's right here. Hold on. I think here's the ex-wife. See? The ex-wife is actually really cute. So it's not like the ex-wife was ugly. So the ex-wife that he just divorced, he had 3 sons with her. Right? So I'm like, what exactly is he looking for? Yeah, she's kind of new. She's not like the Genevieve Naji and like the Jackie Appiah. Like, she's not of that generation. She's not like Genevieve and like Jackie Appiah's generation, like Tonto Dike and stuff like that. No, she's like more of like the new generation. She's like a Gen Z, I guess. Like, she's like a newer class, right? A new generation. But I'm like, that is crazy. That's really, really crazy. You know, 3 sons, and he left this lady. So I don't know. Is he even a real billionaire? Because that's what Simon was saying, that he was worth $40 million. Wumpty wump wump. Okay. So I'm like, child, I just hope she takes her time before getting pregnant and she gets to know a bit more about this man, because now I'm like, I have anxiety. What is Frozen? Is my screen frozen? You know, I'm like, now I have a bit of anxiety about this man because I'm like, what in the world? What in the world? Imagine that. What is frozen? My screen is frozen? Oh, yeah. So y'all can look into it, and then tomorrow we'll try to talk about it tomorrow. I got to go with this baby. I got to go, right? But I'm like, it's frightening. This is really, really frightening. Because at first I was like, oh, look at him. He's a serious man. He's not a cheater like David, right? And then as soon as like the wedding was over, the blog started coming out with all the tea on this man. I was like, oh, maybe that's why she hit him, you know? But I'm like, you gotta be very 3 divorces, and he wants to marry you in less than 3 months. How do we know that's not a love scam? You know what I mean? I don't know. But all right, my peoples, I love y'all. Let me go take care of this baby. Okay. See y'all tomorrow, my people. See you tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed this live. It wasn't like crazy, but you know, it's a little hard with the baby. Okay. But I love y'all. I'll try to be back tomorrow. I'll try to be back outside tomorrow. Okay. Bisous. She gotta go. I'll see y'all later.